You know, let me dive in as a lifelong Yankee fan. By the way, welcome aboard. Thank you for what has been an iconic week. Please, first 15 minutes of the program, some of the most essential time, hit that like button. You guys have been great all week long. Super chats go to the top, all of them, as you know. And if you're new to the program, sit back and watch others. I know you have other options, but you choose to come here 2 to 6 Eastern time, Monday through Friday. We so appreciate it. And the 4 hours are powered by our friends at BetUS. So let me just act like an Yankee fan for just 10 seconds. That had to be one of the most disappointing Yankee teams I have ever seen. Aaron Judge dropping fly balls that a 4-year-old can make. I mean, what in the world is that, big guy? You're supposed to be a big-time player. You can't play like Joel Embiid or James Harden. You can't do that. Great players command great moments. That guy shrunk. All 6'7" of them. He shrunk. He shrunk. You watched a Yankee team last night in the 5th inning melt down more than anything I've ever seen in my life in sports. Not being able to cover first, balks, dropping flies. You thought you were watching a Little League game. Holy shit. You talk about people not being able to play with pressure. That was one of the greatest examples that we will go to over the next decade on remembering what a team looks like that had to have a win, that had the game won, and then ended up losing it. Kudos to the Dodgers. They never lost their poise. They were run by a manager who knew what he was doing. Get this, and the only game the Yankees won was the game that they set up the bullpen, and it was the back end of their bullpen. They were completely dominated. They were the better team. Shows you when you have great guidance, whether it's a head coach or a manager. That was on display. I'm watching this thing going, this is just a complete Chernobyl meltdown. I mean, a complete meltdown. You see it in sports all the time. Some guys rise, some guys fold. And that's exactly what happened last night. That was without a doubt one of the most disappointing things I've ever seen. Not just as a Yankee fan, but as a sports fan. That was crazy last night. You can't cover the bag? You're taught that shit in Little League. That was terrible. If the boss were alive, every one of those guys would be fired. By the way, this guy over here, the 49ers 2024 says baseball is boring. Well, 18 million people have been watching it, and it actually beat Monday Night Football the other night. More people were watching the baseball. I didn't watch Giants and Steelers. I didn't watch 10 seconds of that thing. I watched the World Series. 304. Diggs and Parsons are the worst. They stink. They're shitty teammates. They got other. Hey, 304. Diggs and Parsons have other business interests right now other than being football players. They got other interests. You know what they can't do? Okay? You know what they can't do? Do you know what they can't do? They can't play football. And they can't departmentalize. Terrible, man. Week 9 of the NFL starts tonight. Jets and Texans. Can't wait to see that. By the way, I think the Jets are going to win actually tonight. Week 10 of college football starts. And, hey, one thing. Xander just got through telling me, hey, please do me a favor. No one wants to hear the bullshit with Boza and Kaepernick and all that. He's so right. But I will say this. Congratulations, Nick. Way to have the number one selling jersey in the NFL. That is so great. I love it. Great. What a message. What a message. Hit the like button, guys. We so appreciate you guys. All right. You know what? I saw somebody in here going like this just a couple minutes ago. Goes like this. Hey, keep the hating on Hurts. I could give a shit about Jalen Hurts as a human being. You know why? I don't know him. And I'm not going to form opinions by press conferences, internet, video clips, because I've never had an interaction with him. I don't form my friendships or my opinions on people's character based on video clips. I base it on actions and repetitive things that they may or may not do. So I don't know how you guys have this affection for Jalen Hurts when you've never met the fucking guy. How do you do that? I've never been able, like when I was a kid, I wasn't really a cartoon guy because those guys were all phony. People on TV to me were phony. People to me on TV are still phony. They play a role. You don't really know these people. I don't know how. I've never had an idol except my grandpa. That's the only idol. I mean it. It's the only idol I have ever had is my grandfather. Fireman, fisherman. 50% of the time he spoke Italian. I mean, honest to God, man, that's the guy I was raised by. That was my idol. Not some dude on TV like SpongeBob. You got to be kidding me, man. Hey, I could care less about Hurts the person. Now, if we're talking here and we're having man of the year conversations, that's one conversation. We're talking football. I could give a shit who he is. Well, you know why? Hey, you know why I have that attitude? By the way, that's not a bad take right there. Hey, Sills, he's my quarterback. Hey, get this. He's my quarterback. That's a great take. Hey, Sills, I got to give a shit about him because he's my quarterback. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. No doubt about it. No doubt about it, man. So this ain't anything to do with hate. Sills, now that we've established Hurts as elite, shall we start the GOAT conversation with who? Who are you talking about? Jalen Daniels? Is that what we're talking about? Jalen Daniels? Get this. Jacob's now going, Jalen Hurts is elite because he had a great game against the Bengals. Here's a Howie for you. Michael Irvin called him. You know, I had to kick his ass last night. I had to kick his ass last night a little bit. Okay. By the way, I went back and listened to Jalen Hurts' conversation, and we're going to hit a little bit on that here, okay? My weekly grades on the Eagles versus the Bengals. We'll do that as well. The best quarterbacks in the NFC. We'll do that. And Doug Peterson versus Nick Sirianni. It is Nick Sirianni and Doug Peterson week. I've always defended Dak because he has to play with losers like Dig, Parsons, and Lamb. Apparently, Micah thinks the local media should be on their side. What a pussy. Are you crazy? The local media should be on their side. Are you crazy? The local media has an agenda in every market. They have an agenda. They're not your friends. They placate to you because they think you're dumb. Okay? You'll have to excuse me, Jacob. I'm not that quick sometimes, so thank you, brother. I appreciate it. So, hey, 2 for Jacob, -2 for Sills for inciting a riot. You win. Way to go. You got over on Big Sills. You win the coin flip. Sills, you play defense. You know we don't see the real Daniels until year 2 when the book is out on him. You're right. You're absolutely right. Dude, Micah Parsons, I have no interest in that guy. He's soft as a man. Hey, by the way, after getting in a back and forth with me, he blocked me. And then from what I understand, he talks shit to Michael Irvin constantly about me. When Michael goes on his podcast or they're in Dallas and he's at the facility, he's always bringing up my name to him. I found that out last night talking to Mike. By the way, Mike, I know you're watching. Thank you so much, dude. You know how much I love you. 40 years we've been friends. You imagine that? I'm 60 years old. I've known this guy 40 years of my 60 years on this earth. And we're as close as you would imagine. Me and that guy are very close. Michael Irvin and I are like brothers. I'm not kidding. There's things about him I know I would never say. There's things that he knows about me that he would never say. We've been friends since we were teenagers. I love that guy. My daughter gets on my shit about it too. She's like, hey, you know, he's had some things in his past. I go, hey, so's your dad. Okay? So's your dad. He's had the same stuff. All right. So let me ask you just an overview question here about Nick Sirianni versus Doug Peterson. By the way, I'm not going to ask you to choose because it is Doug and Nick week, okay? But let me ask you this. Did you have a problem with Sirianni going like this? Hey, screw that. I'm not helping the next guy who's coming in to fill my job. I'm not helping that guy take, and have a good transition into being the next Eagle head coach if I get blown out. Now, that's the difference between Doug and me. Okay? How'd you take that? How'd you take that? Look at this guy. Nick already beat Doug once. Who cares? That doesn't make you a better coach. Nick's in a better organization. It's the freaking Jaguars, guy. Get a clue. How'd you take that? Didn't you hear the press conference? He said, and then he tried to cover it up after the back end of it when he realized what he said. Competitive. Hey, here it goes, Twiz. Here's Twiz. Twiz thinks Nick's better than Doug. All I say to you is, if Doug Peterson was the head coach in 2022, you'd have 2 Super Bowls. Okay? Just asking. Samuel says I didn't like it. That's a lie. Absolutely not. It is true. Go listen to Nick Sirianni. Go listen to Nick Sirianni in this press conference. He totally said that. I like honesty. Senor says love it. Okay? Okay? Do you love it? Here's my take on it. I don't give a shit who it is. If it's my best friend or not. I'm not helping the next guy feel comfortable being the guy to take my gig. How many people in life, once you get fired or have been fired, you're hoping the next guy that comes in that replaced you does well? Do you actually think that Anthony Richardson is rooting for Joe Flacco? Where in your right mind do you think that that's a normal emotion? That you're hoping for that guy to succeed? Nobody has that emotion that's not lying. Nobody. I'm fine with it. I'm not helping the guy either. That's not what I'm doing. Hey, I hope, I got blown out here at the organization fired. Now, look, I don't think Doug has an adversarial relationship with the Eagles. I think they actually like one another. even after being fired. Because you know what? The cool thing about being an NFL head coach is Doug was getting paid by Jeffrey Lurie after he got canned. He was getting paid $7-8 million. So, dude, when you walk out the door and you're getting blown out, it's not like you're walking out the door empty-handed. You're going to get $10 million out the door. So it's not like you sit here and you go like this, hey, you know, I'm a little distraught here. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you're all right with it. You don't want to be canned, especially at a place where you won a Super Bowl. Okay? I mean, Sean says, Sills, folks don't remember Jags were up 2 scores until Lawrence wet the bed in the rain. That kid's been up and down too much. Every quarterback that they've had in that building has been up and down. Okay? Sills is the least respected troll in the business. Nobody respects him. Stop supporting this fool. That's why people like Michael Irvin and Eric Allen come on, and general managers and head coaches. So whatever that guy is or whoever that dude is, nobody knows who you are, and nobody knows, and everyone that's on this program knows that that's not true. If the Eagles didn't care, they wouldn't call my bosses. Please stop. Don't support them. Let's be on that now, dude. Everyone is supporting us. These people keep me on the air. You don't. No, actually, you do too, because your algorithm. Thank you. Thank you. Keep it up, my friend. Hey, by the way, when you see a guy like that, he helps. Xander told me. That guy helps. Like on Monday, we had almost 8,000 people in live chat throwing posts at the show. Okay? Sills, would you be open to having someone like Jalen or BG on the show? Absolutely. Dude, everyone is welcome. As you can tell, I put people on the program with different opinions than me. I don't think Jalen Hurts an elite quarterback. Michael Irvin, my friend, thinks he is. I don't know what my guests say. The Trump garbage truck thing was hilarious. It was. Hey, by the way, like I said, so you guys know, I don't pre-screen my guests. I don't know what they say. Unlike WHIPASS, that station that is the flagship of the Eagles, I don't pre-screen my guest. They can say whatever they want. Some agree, some disagree. Most probably disagree with me. By the way, you think Michael Irvin agrees with my politics? Absolutely not. But that was the beauty about our Hurricane locker room. Unlike your locker room in life. Everybody could have different opinions, and everyone would love one another. We were all different characters. That's what made our locker room great. Everybody was an individual, and we were all individuals with all egos coming together as one team. We weren't eunuchs and robots. I think that's what makes a great football team. Different characters, different personalities, different likes, different religions. All of that is what makes a great team. And that's why we were great. Because at the end, we loved one another, no matter what your politics was. And that's a sign of all great teams. I think great teams in sports has different opinions about how they see things. Like, I'm not pissed off that Jalen Hurts was out golfing with Obama. I actually like Obama. Cool. All right. Great. That wouldn't be my deal. I think it'd be pretty cool to golf with Obama. Obama looks cool outside the White House. Elliott Shore Parks, never heard of her. Yeah. Right? All right. So let me ask you this. Going into this game, who has the advantage in this ball game? At head coach, the Jags or the Eagles? Who has the advantage? I'd rather golf with Musk, too. Better chance of him picking the bill up. Look at this. M. Reyes, Eagles. Eagles have the advantage at head coach. Okay? I've actually had Obama on my show. I've had Clinton on my show, too. I've had Bush on my show. Was during Army-Navy week. Back in the day when I did radio. I've had 3 presidents on my program before. That's a fact. Let's see here. Doug wouldn't have won the Super Bowl in 22 because he never could have got there. He would have Hurts throwing 40 to 50 times a game and they'd lose. Look at this guy. This guy's trying to tell you that a guy who took a backup quarterback couldn't take a wishbone quarterback to a Super Bowl and win it. Are you crazy? One of the greatest accomplishments in coaching history was Doug Peterson's Super Bowl run. Not just Nick Foles' run. That was one of the greatest coaching runs of all time. And it was by Nick. Are you crazy? That was absolutely one of the greatest coaching jobs of all time. Seals, you think at the time the Eagles were winning despite Reed having success and letting him go actually helped him, or was it the wrong decision? I actually it started to come around where most people are when it comes to Andy Reid's tenure and his time with the Eagles. Dude, 14 years is a long time to be at one crib and not win a championship. I think the longer you stay, worse chances you have of winning a Super Bowl. And it's only going to end poorly. Have you ever seen a coach someplace for 15, 20 years and it just continues to be a successful place? Even Saban had to wave the white flag. The changing environment of nil, the recruiting, and all the money that's now going around college football, it gave Nick a poor taste and he wanted out and he put his hand up. Look at what happened with Shula. Look at what happened with Hallis. Look at what happened. And the guys who get out on time, okay, like Bill Walsh, who only coached 10 years, 9 years. He always said a decade is probably it for a coach because after that, the locker room loses the message. You know, Anthony, I'm going to say something that you're probably right on this. I don't really know Press Taylor. But Jimmy Johnson has said it numerous times on this program, and I happen to agree with him. By the way, Merl Reese, the legendary voice of the Philadelphia Eagles, will join us at 4:30. Xander will join us at 3:30. You don't have good assistant coaches around you, Anthony. You are not going to win championships. Got to have a great coaching staff. That's why in Kansas City you see a sensational coaching staff. That's one thing Andy's always had. That's why he wins. Andy's always had great coaches around him. The Eagles don't. It's spotty at best when it comes to your coaches. Xander, I just missed a super chat. All super chats go to the top. Please hit the like button, guys. If you don't have a great coaching staff, you're not going to win. And the Eagles had a great staff at 22. Why? Shane looks like a heck of a coach, and so does actually Jonathan Gannon. Jalen Hurts is worse king with his third coordinator. Him being drafted and thrown into the fire after Wentz was pulled. McNabb had one coordinator. True, Jalen Hurts is worse king with his third coordinator. His beings drafted and thrown into the fire after Wentz was pulled. McNabb and the coordinator. Okay, I think, Mark, where we're going here is that his worst issue that he's had is all these coordinator changes. He mentioned it at his press conference yesterday. Okay, he did. And then actually being thrown into the mix, he never competed for the job. McNabb had one coordinator? Absolutely. Peyton Manning had one coordinator. Okay, there's no issue that there's no coincidence that anytime a quarterback, look at Matt LaFleur, look at Patrick Mahomes, look at Kyle Shanahan. Dude, Brock Purdy is ahead of Jalen Hurts as a passer. Why? Well, he's had one coordinator, he's had one system, and that's why his growth is faster than Hurts' growth as a pocket passer. There is not one redeeming thing that Jalen Hurts does in the pocket that's better than Brock Purdy. Nothing. Zero. Nothing does he do better. Nothing. He knows where to go with the ball. He doesn't throw to spots. He throws to receivers. He's smart in the pocket. He wins more. I mean, he's been to 2 conference title games in 2 straight years. There's nothing he does, Jalen, that's better than that guy. And they pretty much have the same kind of talent in the backfield. And when some of that talent's not around, they pretty much look alike. He's not as effective. Neither is Hurts. We pointed out to you when AJ's not there, he's 10-12. Brock Purdy is stabilizing the ship with many of the pieces. They're hoping to get McCaffrey back. Okay? Absolutely. Eduardo, Jalen Hurts is a sofa king elite. Okay? He's overall a better player. Wait, what did I see? He's overall a better player? No, he's not. He's a better runner, sure. He's not the passer, but overall, Aaron Rodgers is a better overall player than Brady. Yeah, probably true. Probably true. Probably true. Okay, probably true, yeah. Hurts is elite at the tush-push. Okay? Get this. Here's Dick Train. You big idiot. Still, Jalen Hurts way better than Purdy. No competition at 4-4. Really. The last time those two teams played, they beat the living piss out of you. And he's been to the Super Bowl, and he's been to 2 straight conference title games. He's taken his team to 2 straight conference games. You took your team last year, and he took his team last year to Palookaville. 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 Oh, wait a minute. We have the latest in the MVP according to Vegas. We have the MVP race. I have to give it to you here. On the MVP rate. Here it is. This is according to Vegas. Dick Train. Number 10. Saquon Barkley, Philadelphia Eagles. Number 9, Kyler Murray. Number 8, Jordan Love of the Packers. Number 7, CJ Stroud. See him tonight. Number 6, this is insane. Patrick Mahomes, KC. Number 5, Jaden Daniels, James Jones. Your boy is 5th in the MVP race right now. Number 4, Derrick Henry, Baltimore Ravens. Number 3, Jared Goff. Let me get this right. How many people think Jalen Hurts is playing better? Oh, no, wait, he's not allowed to play golf. How many people believe that Jalen Hurts is playing better than Jared Goff? Okay. How many? Number 2, Lamar Jackson. Number 1, Josh Allen. Wow, how's that for you? So look at that. I just saw something from Xander. So JM tried to report us to the NAACP because of my takes on Jalen Hurts. How's that for you? You want to know why there's shit on the internet about me? Because of dicks like that. Imagine that. They don't like what I say, so they'll make shit up. It's kind of standard for the society today. Says I might have to fight you for my QB1. He is pretty. His aura puts a stranglehold on my existence alone. His coach got me in a tizzy. Yeah, JM's trying to report me to The NAACP. Why? Because you don't like what I say. Okay. Well, that's 36 years of my broadcasting career. I'll make shit up. Eagles make shit up about me being an anti-Semite because I called their guy a glorified CPA, and JM is trying to report us to the NAACP because I have a different opinion of Jalen Hurts. Wow, am I winning? Wow, am I winning? Wow, am I winning? Wait, I'll take it back. Wow, are we winning? Wow, are we winning? You can't stop us. Holy cow, that is so iconic. Thank you. Hey, Xander, did I get all the super chats? I want to make sure that we didn't miss one here too. What's your opinion on letting rookie quarterbacks sit? I think there's nothing wrong with letting a kid sit and learn from a veteran. I don't either. If you can afford that. Okay? If you can afford that, like they did in Kansas City with Alex Smith, if you can afford that, yes. Aaron Rodgers sitting behind Favre and Jordan Love sitting behind. Hey, by the way, there's no doubt that that's been a remedy in Green Bay that's worked. 30 some odd years, almost 40 years, you got three quarterbacks taking 97% of the snaps. Obviously, something's going right. Okay, something's going right when it comes to developing quarterbacks in Green Bay. Yeah, Sue, how about that? It's good to know. My takes on JM got a guy trying to report us to the NAACP over it. JAKIB is king. They can't stop us. No way, Flexen. You mean they can't stop you? Dude, this thing doesn't roll without you. Your super chats, your likes, this doesn't work without you. You know, I'll tell you, I'll give you guys a little bit of something here. My 27 years in radio, my show didn't work without the people who called in and filled out Arbitron books. And I knew that. Sills is not a racist, he's just an asshole. Thank you. Hey, wait. Thank you. Yeah, okay. Hey, Anthony. Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah. We'll do the grading on the week. That was an Abe, I think, idea. See, we took content from you guys. That was Abe's idea on a content segment. So we'll do that later in the program as well. Here, that's funny you should say that. Dan Sileo, a fool. Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the NFC besides Stafford. Brock Purdy's a bum. How come Brock Purdy's done more than your boy? He's done more in a shorter period of time. He's won more. He's been to more conference title games. He's thrown for $4,000 in less attempts. What has Jalen Hurts done more than him? What? What's he done? What's the fam doing for Halloween big sales? Handing candy out. No candy apples. And do me a favor. Don't hand out fruit. I hate those guys. Don't hand out fruit. Okay? Sills, also welcome to any cookout. Abe, that was a great idea on grading the guys for the week. We'll do that a little bit later on. This is funny too. Sills isn't racist anymore. He's just an old man. Oh man. I thought Big Sills said the tush push was going away when Kelsey retired. No accountability from Sills. He's wrong again. Hey, senor, okay. What's this, senor? Just like Mark Holmes. Now you're right. I'm wrong. Next. Okay, congratulations. No accountability. No accountability? This show is all accountability. Are you kidding? Everything's on tape. This show lives on accountability. The rest of hey, accountability? Once you go feel some chick's ass over at the Phillies place and then not talk about it with one of your employees, you want to know what accountability is? Xander Krause has to deal with accountability on what people are saying about me and the industry. People, he's got to deal with that. That's accountability. This is why we keep him on. That's accountability. Okay? This show is built on accountability. You hold me accountable. So I don't know what you're talking about, senor. I have no idea. Hey, people are funny, man. You come up with the most outrageous shit. That racist Sileo still on the air. What are we going to do about him? What are we going to do about him? Okay, where's Brock Purdy on the MVP list? Brock Purdy is probably Brock Purdy. Let's see. You should ask. MVP. Saquon Barkley. He's not on the list right now. No, he's not. No, he's not. Once again, though, dude, he's done more than your boy. What has Jalen done more than Brock Purdy? He hasn't won more. He's a better passer. He's gone to more championship games and his postseason record's better than Hurts's. I'm trying to figure out what has he done better. What exactly has Brock Purdy not done more than Jalen Hurts? You're making things up. Okay? Also, Flexing gave Sileo N-word pass. That'd be a word you'd never hear me say. Only show you get to call the host out. That's definitely accountability. Correct, Anthony. Anthony calls me out every day. N-word? You'd never hear that out of my face. I've got too many friends of mine that I respect that I would kill someone for if I heard that. And if anyone said that word in front of me, that would mean that I would be someone that would accept that word. I would call your ass out on it if you said that in front of me. Because if anyone heard that and I was in the room, that meant that I was okay with it. And I'm not okay with that. I have too many people I love that would not be kind to that word. Okay? That's how I feel about the N-word. I say a lot of shit and I have a bad mouth. That and taking the Lord's name in vain ain't going to happen. You'll never hear that out of my mouth. Not even in jest. Seriously, if I was in a room with 5 or 6 white guys and they were dropping N-bombs, I would leave because I don't want to be associated with that. It's not what we do here. Let me get back to sports here. I know I can't wait for these political commercials to go away and the election to go away. I really can't. I'm sick of all their faces. I like to punch all their faces. I like to kick them in the ass, both of them. I'm so sick of it. I hate both of them. I can't take it. I can't wait for these political ads to go away. It's so disgusting how you talk about other people instead of policies. Freaking hate it. Sills has a lot of the fight's bugs. At least he's not a yes man. Yes. And if he was what the haters say, why would people come on his show and vouch for him? You know, Ace, I hate to do that because it sounds like you get guys on like that one idiot said yesterday that I put black guys on just so that it sends a narrative. These are people that are my friends for 40 years. I'm sorry I have black friends to some. It's just what it is. When Tony Dungy comes on, or Warren Moon, and Michael Irvin, and my friends like that come on, I'm sorry I got black friends. Okay, I really am. It's kind of people I hung out with. I apologize to some who don't like it. I think that's more of a you thing. All right, let's listen to Jalen Hurts here. And I kind of liked what he said, too. And by the way, I know now they're watching. Please hit the like button, my friend. We appreciate it. Well, that gave me some juice what I read there. Okay? Sileo called black people monkeys. Wish you were thinking about Michael Irvin then. No, it was poor terminology. Sorry. Sills Thursday. And by the way, one of them was a very close friend of mine that I recruited for University of Miami, Jonathan Vilma. Vilma called me that day and laughed in my phone and left a message and laughed. Damn, Sills, really? He was laughing his ass off. Shows you what they thought of it. Jonathan Vilma's a hurricane. And every hurricane reveres me. Okay? Even the D-line coach who wore my number and asked to wear it called me and said, Sills, I want to wear your number. I'm honored. Sills, here's the matchup I take in the Eagles-Jags game. QB Eagles, running back Eagles, wide receiver Eagles, pass defense Eagles, Eagles run defense. They're ninth, though, in run defense. Jags and coordinators Eagles. Tight end Jags. Head coach Jags. Quarterback. The quarterback is way more consistent, for sure. Okay? Absolutely. Okay? I'm done with this stuff. Is ninth run defense pretty good after Sills shit on the defense all season? Ugh. Sills not a racist at all. Definitely an asshole, but nothing wrong with that. I do love that comment. I don't know why that makes me laugh a lot, dude. Sills, Adam Schefter was on 97.5 and said he was talking to Big Dom, and Big Dom praised Devontae Smith. He said he is as famous, as strong as any guy the Eagles have on the roster. I love Devontae Smith too, dude. I really do. I'm a big fan of that. Enough with the politics. I'm right with you, brother. I don't like Sills, y'all. I got me defending this. Yeah, that's all I want, man. James, your team looks good. Hey, James, are you going for your 7th straight win this week? James, are you going for your 7th straight win? Yeah, something about trying for week 10 Bucks game, if no setback. Hey, are you going for your 7th straight? You're going for your 7th straight win. Get this. Xander's not buying a team going for their 7th straight win, but he's buying the Eagles off the Bengal game. I kind of added that in there a little bit, but hey, we'll frost it up at 3:30. We'll frost it up at 3:30. Oh, and I would like to send this out to the Philadelphia Eagle media. You're welcome. Hey, Xander, how come when I brought up the fact that Jahan Dotson has done nothing and has had like 35 yards and 200 and some snaps yesterday with you guys, the first question asked to Jalen Hurts was about Dotson? Is that just me? Thank you, Keith. All super chats go to the top. Is that by coincidence? So I bring up that Dotson has been a complete turd since they traded for him. The first question to Hurts is about Dotson. I'm listening to it. I'm like, that's funny. Of all the people they could have started with, Barkley, AJ, N'Kobe, why the guy who's the least productive guy in the roster and in the huddle, why are you starting there? Because us brought it up. They watch the show. The Philly media gets their shit from you. This thing's growing bigger and bigger than I thought. Please hit that like button. We've been averaging over 400 likes a day, killing it in the views. By the way, Battle Royale annihilated it yesterday. The guys on the same page right now. Those guys are on the same page with Angelo. Crazy. Okay? Let's see here. Yeah, and we're not doing the So it's because in the all-22, Jahan Dotson was getting himself open a lot. Hurts is not going to him. Okay? That's cool, Jack. We him, Sills. Yeah, the first question. Yeah, when his opportunity comes, he needs to be ready. He's right. Get this. He was asked a really important question. Jalen, how much of your involvement, and by the way, when they asked him that it looks so different since the bye, I thought he got a little offended. So what do you mean? Well, it does, Jalen. It is completely different. You're running the ball more. There's more play action, and you're more under center. They want to get the run game going, and they have. And it's been accomplished. You should be happy about it. And I think he warmed up to it. I thought he warmed up to it. He's like, yeah, And then he said something very important. You know what that was? It's finding who you are. There'll be a time in the season when you start to understand what it is. And he's right. You start to understand where it is. I honestly think you shit on the Eagles on purpose so that they can prove you wrong. For some reason, I don't think you care being proved wrong. You like Philly. I love being proved wrong. I do. That means kids are succeeding. Hey, Rick, are you under the impression I root for failure? You'd be wrong. I point out failure. I don't root for it. I don't root for failure. I point out failure. Okay? It's not shitting. I point out failure. It's what I do. Okay? I'm not rooting for Nakobe Dean to fail. What? So it could prove an old man right? Come on, man. What kind of asshole would want to watch a show that is really, if you really thought that, I'd be disappointed in all of you. Okay? I mean, honestly, man, I'd be disappointed if you really thought that, because that's not anything near true. And how does that help my freaking show? That doesn't have, hey, by the way, Rick, that doesn't help my show being proved right. Rick, I'll give you a story my wife said. One day, back in the day, I used to love to be proved right. And I got fired every time I was proved right. My wife would go like this: congratulations, you were right. Too bad you're not working Monday. Well, you were right, though. I believe Hurts has a better deep ball than Purdy. Probably. But you don't win Super Bowls with deep throws. You win Super Bowls with controlled throws. Ask Brady and Mahomes. Okay? Ask Brady and Mahomes. So I agree with Hurts here. They're figuring it out. They're figuring this out. Stone Cold or Undertaker, Big Sills? Stone Cold. He says there's a lot of working parts that's going on right now. And he's right. You're seeing it. Sills gets on my nerves, but it's kind of silly to judge him over stuff he said 20 years ago. We all have skeletons. We've all made mistakes. Hey, Anthony, You think Joe Biden wants that back, that he did a eulogy for the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, Senator Byrd? You might think he wants that one back too, right? What do you think, Anthony? You think he wants that one back? Might want that one. You think Howard Stern wants that blackface he did? He might want that back too, right? Yeah, right? Yeah. He might want that one back too, right? Now he pretends that he's this liberal guy. Right? Yeah, no, I'm the same dude. I'm not changing anything here, man. Unfortunately. Hey, Anthony. Yeah, but only guys like me get held their feet to the fire. All right, here. Let's move on here. Are you buying when he says this, Jalen Hurts? Are you buying this? Team first. Everyone has to find their role. I do believe it. I think that's what separates him from Aaron Rodgers. Like Michael Irvin said yesterday. I agree. I think he is about team first. And I think that's why, when I learned that, do you know when I learned that about Hurts? When he was at Alabama. Instead of jumping in the portal right away. And by the way, Howard Eskin hated it when he used to be allowed to come on the program. He's no longer allowed. His dad told him he can't come on the program anymore, David Field, the owner of Odyssey. And Jeff Sutherland or something like that, who I hate. Yeah, those guys, his two dads, before he was allowed to come on JAKIB, said that, he had a problem with it. Jalen Hurts, hanging out there like that. And I was like, I don't have a problem with that. I actually like the fact that what he did. I thought it made him a great teammate, sticking around, graduating, and then moving on to Oklahoma. Okay? I liked what he did. He was asked about the Obama stuff. I think it's pretty cool when you're a celebrity like Jalen Hurts that you get to meet President of the United States, former president, senators. He said my next one and my last one is Denzel. Shit, I'd like to meet Denzel. I won't lie. Who wouldn't like to meet Denzel Washington? He said that Obama was the ultimate leader. He said he couldn't golf because the owner told him not to. Dude, we used to have these crazy things in our contracts that you couldn't ride motorcycles, you couldn't jet ski, you couldn't. There's all kinds of stupid shit that are in those NFL contracts that you can't do in season. Like if you have a gun, back in the day, I don't know what it is now, but back in the day, if you had a shotgun or you had guns, you had to bring them to the facility. This is true story. If you had a shotgun or a handgun or whatever, you had to bring it to the facility. They would lock it up in season and give you your guns back at the end of the season. At least this is what the Bucs did. Because a lot of people hunted. And you had to bring your guns in. Like Randy Grimes and all them dudes would have to bring their guns in during the year. And they would lock them up. They had like a lockbox area where all these weapons and shit. I'm not kidding. They don't want you playing with guns during the season. That was back in the day. I don't know what it is now. Do you think the Eagles need a trade? I think they need a C trade. I don't think they need a B trade. I think you let the young kids play. The young kids are getting better, especially on the defensive side. Hey, well, let me ask you this, Rick. And I appreciate the super chat. Rick, what do you think is more important? The development of the draft choices and young players and not upsetting that? Or adding something else into the mix? The only thing I would add is a veteran who knows how to move into a situation like Sue and Linville did 2 years ago. That'd be like Calais Campbell. You guys would look at me and go, Stills, he's too old. You know the one thing he can bring now is depth. And get this, the transition wouldn't be a harsh one because he wouldn't be commanding massive reps. What it would do is it would pick away more reps from Bryce Huff, who's not playing well. And it would give them an option because Bryce Huff, dude, Nolan Smith is picking his game up. Bryce Huff has not. It's kind of a win-lose situation. They're happy their draft pick starting to show signs, but they can't be happy the guy that they signed in free agency and plus paid him is nowhere to be seen. If I'm bringing anybody into that team right now, the Eagles, I'm bringing a veteran who knows how to fit in and knows how it is to be a pro. I don't want a super young player trying to take reps away from my secondary. Dude, the secondary guys, I'm not touching. I'm not touching the 2 linebackers. Let those guys sit there, man. I might get a depth piece, but if I'm happy with Trotter, I'm not doing anything. Let those guys alone. Dude, would you pick an apple too soon off the tree and eat it? You wouldn't do it. Jordan Davis trade? No. They're playing better against the run. Maybe get a depth piece behind him to get a little more depth in case you had a catastrophic injury. Or Davis's play goes down like it did in the second half of the season last year. That's how I'd be looking. I don't think look, Sills, what about Max Crosby? Are you really going to want to rip your entire defense and your future, your defense up for Max Crosby? That's a debate. I'm not saying, hey, Myles Garrett, I'm going to do a lot to land that player if the Cleveland Browns. And by the way, the relationship that you have with Andrew Berry, you could possibly be talking about that situation with Myles Garrett. I don't believe they're going to move off him, though. I think the young guys need to play. So do I. But I think we need more depth. So do I. I would love a veteran like Clowney, Campbell, Zadarius Smith, even Khalil Mack. Now you're thinking. Plus, get this. They're not going to cost you shit. You make a trade with the Dolphins to get Calais Campbell. You may have to give a 7th rounder up. So, 7th rounder up for a future Hall of Famer? And a guy that can help the young players out and give you some depth piece and leadership in your locker room? I'm good with that. Dude, Calais is a Walter Payton winner. He's a tremendous leader. I know him personally. I like him. And he would cost you nothing. This is not like giving away a 4th rounder for Robert Quinn. People like that. That's the move you make. Okay? That's the move you make. Hit the like button, please. By the way, Xander will join us at 3:30. We will have our friend Merl Reese. Sills, have the Eagles grown on you as a team? Yeah. You like more and more since you started covering them. Yeah. And also, what is your perception of the team before you covered them? My perception of the team was that I thought the fans were tougher and expected more. I did. I've been at times disappointed. You guys should be striving for championships, not 14-3. Every time I see that dickhead post that thing up 14-3, I want to throw up. That's the worst thing you can point and worry about your record. That's so stupid. You should be worrying about championships. The one thing in the NFL, doesn't matter what your record is when you get to the postseason. How many times the team with the best record wins the Super Bowl? Didn't happen last year. Didn't happen last year. Team with 11 wins won. Yo, Sills, what would you rather have? What is this? This is Dave from Secaucus, New Jersey. Dave, shut the hell up, man. My aunt watches the show. I'm not answering that, you filthy pig. Hit the like button for Dave. He's asking me a tits or ass question. My aunt watches this program. Try to get your mind out of the gutter. What are you, a filthy pig? What kind of shit do you think I'm running here? You think I'm what? Huh? Holy cow. This guy thinks I'm running a brothel here. The way we've been building our defense through the draft looks a lot like the Chiefs does. And now these guys are carrying the team. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. Yes. Jesus, Grammy, Dave. This is what he said about Calcaterra. He's always had confidence in him. He's a special player. I don't know about that. All super chats go to the top. Thank you, Rick. You've been great here, man. Also, Jalen Carter with Campbell. He could teach the young guys so much. I just want more experience in the playoffs. One more vet would be tremendous. Remember something too, Rick. Who did the D-line coach play with in college? Do you know? Rick, do you know who the D-line coach played with in college? You have an idea? Yeah. Clint Hurt played with Calais Campbell. I mean, right. I don't know if they would make that move, though. I don't know if they would. This is what he said about Doug Peterson. He's a brilliant mind. He's a brilliant mind. Could the Bucs be open to trade Vita Vea? No way. No way. Why would the Bucs trade anything right now? The Bucs are close to being a playoff team right now, and they're fighting for the NFC South. Why would they trade him? Why in the world would they trade Vita Vea? And why in the world would the Eagles be interested in that? That means Howie has to admit to the 13th pick being a failure. Always go there. Okay? Always go there with that. Prince, you keep hanging around Big Sills. Those levels change with the nuclear reactor going up and down. Okay? You keep listening to the show, Prince. I'll show you levels. Hey, Dan Sileo, can you please come to the program director's office? Yeah. Those were fun. We got a complaint from the ACE. What's the animal one? The SPCA. Were you saying something very awful about dogs today? I don't know, maybe. Were you comparing somebody to a dog? The SPCA called today, Sells. They call you an SPCA. You were on the most wanted list for the SPCA. Were you comparing a human being to a dog? Probably. Well, they're upset with it. Hey, yeah, that's right, too. I'm sure Merl Reese likes coming on with her races, too. How you doing? He was asked to compare Doug Peterson and Nick Sirianni. He goes, no, I'm not doing it. Smartest answer he's given all week. No, you get in trouble with that. It leads to places and rabbit holes that the media could go to. That's pretty smart right there. That's pretty savvy. That shows he knows what he's doing at the mic when he makes those words. You know that, Xander? He taught me a lot today or yesterday when he spoke by that one answer. Guy goes like this. Hey, can you compare Nick Sirianni and Doug Peterson? You know what he said? Two completely different dudes. And I'm not going there. I'm not going to compare them. Brilliant. Do you know how many narratives you could have made off that? And how many negative topics you could have formulated off that thing? Holy shit, I'd have had 6 shows off that. No way. He shut that shit down right away. This guy knows what he's doing behind the mic. So don't ever tell me this guy doesn't know and does not have self-awareness on what's being said and what's not being said. because he completely does. That's a brilliant and that's a strategically done thing to not let narratives start. This guy knows exactly what he's doing. Oh, shit, Johnny. I'd have had 6 shows off that. Did you hear what Hurts said about Doug Peterson? Did you hear what he said about Press Taylor? Did you hear how they took a shit on him? No way. He wasn't doing any of that. That was well done, man. Kudos. That's how you handle yourself in front of a press conference, and that's how you handle yourself in front of a press like the Philly media. That's excellent, man. Not me. I'm not doing that. I was like, well done. Well done. Dude, I am a professional at this and been doing it almost 40 years. I know when there's an idiot at the mic. Your head coach is one. He's actually gotten a little better as of late, but he's an idiot. Any guy that has more words than the question asked doesn't know how to answer questions. How good is your team? Oh, we're getting better. Always answer with less questions than the question asked. Make them ask you the questions. Because the more you expand on that shit, the dumber you sound. Hey, Bill, you know, the team wasn't really succeeding this week. It looks like you guys struggled on making tackles, and you guys really looked like you were struggling on third down. Here's a typical Belichick answer. Yeah, we got to play better, and we got to coach better, and we're on to Cincinnati. That's how you do it. That is how you handle yourself. Here's Nick. Well, you know, I'd like to tell you about a time, you know, during Game 6 of the NBA Finals of 1998 when I was watching the Bulls. You know, it's a different sport. We know it's a different sport, but you know what I'm saying. And you just see that attitude that Jordan, you're like, oh, God, please, Lord, no, stop him. Seriously, if you could have that hook like that old vaudeville hook, you could just – Bob Lane could yank his ass off it. That'd be the best thing they ever had. They could ever do shit like that. Just get that vaudeville hook and yank his ass off there. Yeah, you can always hear Bob Lane, too, at the presser. 2 more questions. And you can hear him. He's exasperated. 2 more questions. Oh, man. Oh. Yeah. Jalen Hurts said something interesting about 2023, though, that I thought was interesting. He goes like this. You know, yeah, I thought I played pretty good in 2023, except for the turnovers and the winning. He thought he played well last year. I thought that was peculiar. Because I don't really think anybody thought he played well. I thought maybe people would think he played okay. It surely wasn't championship or good enough football to win a title. But he thought he played well. And he said, except for the turnovers. I found that to be kind of the first time that I heard him not really have a good take and that he was a little bit full of himself. Okay? I thought, I mean, he didn't play championship football last year. And the turnovers are part of it. You can't dissect part of it out. That's not a reality check. Dude, you didn't play well last year. And the turnovers are part of it. Well, I played well except for the turnovers. You can't dissect shit like that, guy. You fell apart at the end and you look like shit in the playoffs. And this guy thought he played well. I'm like, okay, really? Thought that was interesting. He was asked an interesting question about young quarterbacks in the NFL today. And he said that, you know, he does think that it takes time to develop the position. And by the way, Anthony Richardson being yanked, I mean, I don't know. There's 2 sides to that thing. But let's just put it this way. Anthony Richardson wasn't good in Florida. I don't know why they thought he was going to be good at Indianapolis. He wasn't good. He wasn't good. Okay? Forte. Oh, my God. That's classic shit right there. Okay? That's classic shit. They're calling the Geneva Convention. Hey, you know what they're doing? They're calling the United Nations, and they're trying to get a hearing so that they could get Sills removed from JAKIB. And, and they're going to have a world meeting there in New York. And they're going to try to get the United Nations to remove Sills. Oh, my God. Okay, hey, by the way, before we take our first time, I'm not taking a timeout. Hit the like button, guys. Guys are great. Please, give me a rundown where we are in the like hits. Give me your list of the best quarterbacks in the NFC. And by the way, I could only go 6. Okay, 153, not bad. Pretty damn good. Let's get to 200 by the bottom of the hour. Hey, give me your top 5 if you want to go 5. And I'll give you my top. I got 6, but I'll give you 5. Here's Jack. Goff. Stafford. Hurts. Okay. Yeah. Well, Prince. Not that I know anybody, but I know a guy by the name of Six Fingers Luigi. He works in the insurance industry. He has this unfathomable thing that it's a habit he has, and he does this, Prince. And I asked him one day when we were at a cocktail party, how come you're always doing this? He goes, I'm always checking my watch. I go, why are you checking your watch? He goes, because you got 3 minutes to jump in that hole. His name is Six Fingers Luigi. This guy's funny. He works in the insurance business. I don't know what the hell it is, but he works in the insurance business. And if that guy wants just call Six Fingers Luigi. You see, that guy's got the craziest thing. He taps his hand all the time like this, and he goes like this. And I asked him finally, seriously, we were eating gabagool. And I go, what's going on? He goes, I got this habit. I'm always checking my watch. I go, why? Well, I usually tell a guy, you got 5 seconds to get in that hole. I'm just saying, I don't know. Here's Big Sills. Top 5 quarterbacks in the NFC. Here, this ought to be highly not educated of a take. Dan Sileo, why do you hate Hurts so much? Do you like black quarterbacks? Oh, man. So when you look at quarterbacks when they're playing on Sundays, hey, look at that black guy playing. Or look at that white guy. Is that how you do it? Really? Is that how you look at people? He's a black guy quarterback? Wow. You've never played sports in your life. Because that's not how people do it. Wow, look at that black guy quarterback play. Holy cow. You see him? Or how about just, that guy's really great. Here is the Big Sills top 5 quarterbacks in the NFC. Let's see. Because I know Lamar and his mom, and he and I go back and forth on Twitter all the time. Lamar Jackson's a friend of mine. Played at Northeast. I know the man very well. And the guy that Xander, the guy go on his show, Lamar Thomas. Lamar Thomas recruited him for Louisville when he was the wide receiver coach up there. And Lamar is a legendary Miami Hurricane. And Lamar introduced me to him when he was down in South Florida. And he recruited him when he was the wide receiver coach at Louisville. Okay? Color does, I don't give up. Dude, being an idiot matters. Your color means nothing to me. I don't give a shit what color you are. Here are my top 5. Honestly, you know that too, M. Reyes. I personally don't care who you're banging, your religion, your color. I could care less. I don't care about that stuff. I don't. I just don't. Number 5, the legend of Kirk Cousins. Thank you, Keith. Number 4, Matthew Stafford. James Jones, are you in here? Calling James Jones. James Jones, are you in here? There he is. Him and Jaden went toe-to-toe and didn't have it. Number 3, Jaden Daniels. Number 2, Brock Purdy, San Francisco 49ers. Hey, you want to bet the Niners win 12 ball games this year? And number 1, Jared Goff. I got Hurts at 6. So here's my top quarterbacks in the NFC. Cousins 5, Stafford 4, Jaden Daniels 3, Purdy 2, Jared Goff number 1. By the way, one thing you got to think about Jared Goff. He was sent to Detroit to die. They sent him to Detroit to die. Get him out of here. What did he do? You know, Matthew Stafford never won a playoff game, and he had Megatron in Detroit, and he never won a playoff game. That guy's changed. If you think about Jared Goff and what he's done up there in the last year and a half, 2 years, it's been remarkable. It's almost like the best era of Lion football in the last 50 years. He was sent there to die. He's got a better team, and he's playing better right now. I think Stafford's picked it up the last 3 weeks since he's gotten his players back. Okay? But this is 8 weeks, dude. Okay, Samuel? This is 8 weeks. They were blown out by Arizona. Did you forget that? Or no? Did you forget they got blown out by Arizona? Hurts is top 10 in the NFC? Yeah. He's top 10. Dude, what, Purdy at 2? Are you going by what he's done in the past? I'm going by what he's done this year. Here, let's take a look at that. Let me make sure I get that super chat here. You might not care about color, and I respect that, but as a black man, it's ironic that black quarterbacks are always suggested to play other positions. I bring that up all the time, my friend. And that's why Lamar Jackson was asked to run at the combines, and he didn't. And he told me that. And a guy who's been on this program, Tom Telesco, was one of the general managers that asked him. And I thought it was offensive. And it is racist. It is racist. Asking Des Bryant, is your mother a whore, is also racist. It's not. I know there's things that still go on there. Not oblivious to it. Hold on here. Let's check out Brock Purdy and see where he is right now. Oh my God. Look at Brock Purdy, man, in the year he's having. Holy shit. What's Hurts got? 1,300 yards? This guy's got 2,100 yards already. Touchdowns are down, though, that's for sure. You still got 2 more than your boy. So let's take a look here where he is and what he's trending to. Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's trending for 4,465 yards passing with 65 quarterback rating, which is kind of low with only 514 attempts. Even Hurts will have more than that with 21 touchdowns and a 93 quarterback rating. And INTs are high, obviously, because he hasn't had his top flight players. But over the last, here's what he's trending. Cowboys 260 yards, 1 touchdown. Played awful against Kansas City, 212. Not a very good rating at all. Had 3 picks in the game. Against Seattle, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 255. Before that, 244. Before that, 288 against New England. So they're winning because of him, because of all the injuries that they've had. Almost all their starters have been in and out. He's having actually a really good year. Okay? He's having actually a really good year here. And to Brock Purdy's point, let's see something else here about Purdy, which I think is important. Brock Purdy as a starter in the regular season is 21-8. You add to 4-2 in the postseason, he's 25-10 since he's been a starter. And in the last 2 years, he's been to 2 NFC championship games. He's 16-8 in the last 2 years as of right now, and the defending NFC champions. Like I said, he's been to the playoffs and he's been to the NFC championship twice. So, yeah. 2 years in a row. He runs Shanny's system very well. That's what Kyle asked. Okay, well, they're trying to figure out a system. And by the way, I'll say this to you. I really hope that by the end of the year, the Philadelphia Eagles look like the Baltimore Ravens and are playing like the Ravens, because that's the style. Okay, hey, once again, what does Brock Purdy not do better than him? He wins. He goes to conference title games. What is the one thing that Jalen has done from the pocket that's better than Brock Purdy? Nothing. 0. Sills, where's Love on your list? Good question. Shit, Hurts is... Sorry. Hurts is 7th. Love has got to be 6th. Yeah. So Hurts is 7th. Thank you. That's right. I forgot about him. I forgot. Right. Purdy has 210 yards rushing. Sounds like Purdy's a dual threat too then. With a guy who too bad your boy can't throw for $4,000 now. That guy throws for 4,200 yards and 30 touchdowns. Your guy will never do that. Ever. Ever will he do that. Yeah, no, he's 7th now. Throws a better deep ball. Congratulations to you. Oh, wait a minute. Hurts has got more turnovers this year than Purdy. Woo! Where's Danny Dimes? Nah, Danny Dimes. I put Tyrod Taylor on that list first. Jalen doesn't give a shit about throwing for $4,000. He gives a shit about winning. This is Okay. So he cares about, well, okay. Hey, Jarrell, you're so awesome, Jarrell. Jarrell, how many weeks has Jalen Hurts played well this year? How many weeks has he played well? Do you think? Three. Browns, Bengals. And what other game would you say? I like three. Keep it up, Sills. Love the show, man. You're going far, my friend. To all the haters, sit on it and twist. Martin, thank you. Hey, dude, remember this? Hey, Martin, the haters come here because they love it. That's why they come here. And the Giant game, I don't think he played well in the Giant game. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Green Bay. Yeah, Green Bay. Cleveland. Hey, Jarrell. Green Bay, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. I'll say that. I will. Here's my friend Prince. I know Patrick Mahomes won the last 2 Super Bowls, but your theory that he doesn't need players to win is invalid right now because he does, which is why he's struggling. Actually, he's struggling to 7-0. Do you understand how that is so messed up when he says that? His worst day in his worst season, he's undefeated. That's how much better he is than everyone else. Because there'll be a time in the game when that guy has to make a play to win. Prince, your theory in general is wrong. Because his worst year, he's undefeated. His worst struggles, he's undefeated. His worst struggles, he's in line to be the team to host the AFC Championship. Whatever you want to say about the guy. Yes, watch this. You want to hear Prince's philosophy about Mahomes? Mahomes is a turnover machine. Mahomes is having a bad year. And yet his worst moments, he's undefeated. And he beats the Ravens. And he beats the Niners. And he beats all these teams. His worst times, you're still not good enough to beat him. Think about that. If you were going to beat Patrick Mahomes, it's right now. And you still can't. That's how freaking great that guy. Get this, you're right. His suck is better than anybody in the league. Man, Mahomes is just not playing well this year. What's their record? They're 7-0. Well, who are they beating? They beat the Ravens. They beat the 49ers. They're beating all these teams. And they're sending teams home every day. And Prince is like, well, he's struggling. I know. His suck is the best. Man, I'd like to be that good in life. Holy shit. Would I be a hero with my wife? Hey, that wasn't a really good performance tonight, but hey, you know what? You're still the king. Oh, but on to me. Holy cow. There. Of course, I'm missing his point. I didn't say that. I'm saying he needs players too. Like who? A 32-year-old DeAndre Hopkins? Okay. You brought him in, an old guy, to help you out. You're making it sound like they brought in A.J. Brown. Holy cow. Hey, they got an old tight end and an old wide receiver. They got a geriatric offense right now. They got 2 dudes in their late 30s. Hey, can somebody throw me the ball before my AARP card runs out? And you got Devontae and AJ. Oh, no? All right. Hold on here. This guy thinks he's been kicking my ass the last couple times on my program. I'm going to have to take a giant I'm going to have to take a giant. What could I say? No, I won't do that one. Who can I say? Nah, I don't want to make it political. I'm going to take a giant Roger Goodell on someone here in a minute. All right, folks. Without further ado, he is the co-host of Birds 365. Let me make it. I'm sounding like Paul Olden, the public announce address guy for the New York Yankees, who used to do the Rays, by the way, who I know well. And by the way, I called him and told him that was the worst exhibit of baseball I've ever seen at Yankee Stadium. Number 3. Our friend, Big Z, Xander Kraus.
What's up, Big Sills?
How you doing, Junior?
Good, man. Good, man.
How you feeling about this week with Dougie Boy coming to town?
I feel so good. I almost feel too good, right? I mean, how can the Eagles lose this game? They trade their left tackle. Their 3 top wide receivers are gone.
They sent him to Minnesota, right?
2 offensive linemen are now on the injury report that didn't play yesterday. I mean, can Doug Peterson field the team this weekend? I don't know. I almost feel too good. It's a little scary. You never want to feel that good going into an NFL game. But am I loud? Greg says my mic is loud, so let me check my mic.
I think you're great. It's good. It's good. You think he's the second coach fired?
What's that?
You think he's the second coach fired?
Who, Doug?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he should be.
I mean, they know that. Do you think he's going to be the second coach fired?
I think it's highly likely because that franchise is dumb as a box of rocks, and they don't know what they're doing. I mean, for all the struggles that Doug has had in the last year and a half or 2 years, I mean, he's been the winningest coach they've had in how long? I mean, he took them to the playoffs the first year. I mean, you got it. You that organization is terrible. At one point, they got to be able to look in the mirror and understand that you got to fix your organization. You can't just keep rotating coaches in and out. But I don't know. We'll see what they end up doing. Like I said, I wouldn't. If I were Doug, I wouldn't take it as a self-indictment. Right. Yeah, I mean, the Jags will fire anybody. They're a bad organization.
Okay, so I did this now, and I'm gonna my top 7 quarterbacks in the NFC are Hurts 7, Love 6, Cousins 5, Stafford 4, Daniels 3. This is playing this year.
Wait, can you restart that?
Okay, in 8 weeks of the 2024 season.
Okay.
My top, I can't do 10 because they all, well, wait a minute.
No, we don't need to do 10. I would say 6. What are you doing, 8? How many make the playoffs? 7, right?
7. We'll do 7.
7's good. And you're doing NFC?
Yeah, NFC only.
Okay.
You think Jalen Hurts is here? I'm going to put that to the side. That
Jalen is definitely in the top 7.
Get the fuck out of here.
In the NFC? Stop.
Wait, I got him 7. I got him 7. I don't think Jalen's playing better football this year than Kyler Murray. I do not think that. He's had 3 good games. Green Bay, the Browns, and this one. The rest of them have been spotty at best.
I mean, I fully will admit to everybody right now, I do not carve time out of my Sundays to make sure I tune on the Arizona Cardinals. So I don't know exactly how good he's playing, but he is having a nice year. 11 touchdowns, 3 picks, 67 completion percentage, and 98 rating.
All better than Hurts.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But I mean, like I said, I haven't watched their games. I've watched a couple of their games. I watched their primetime game, but yeah, I don't know. I don't love Kyler Murray.
They blew the Niners out, and they blew the Niners and the Rams out.
Didn't they lose last week on Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football?
I thought they lost did they lose to Indianapolis?
It was the Chargers game. That's why.
The Chargers game.
Okay. The Chargers game was Kyler's worst game of the year.
Okay.
And that's why. But the Cardinals won, but Kyler Murray he threw a 50% completion percentage with a touchdown and an interception and a 50 rating. I mean, he wasn't very good in that game. I mean, all right, where do you have Kyler?
I don't have him in my top 7. I got Hurts 7. I'm going to have him there. I'm going to put Hurts there because he's 5-2. And Kyler's 4-4. I got Love
3-4.
6.
Kyler's 3-4.
Oh, he's 3-4. I'm totally putting
Wait a
Hurts.
second. Are they 3-4? Or are they 4?
I thought they were 4-4, dog.
They're 4-4. My bad. I was looking at the week.
Okay,
7.
but I still, because he's 5-2, I'm going to put him there. I'm going to put Hurts there at 7. I got Love at 6.
7?
Yeah.
You're telling me you have 6 quarterbacks in the NFC right now playing better than Jalen?
I think Love's playing better.
I think Love's up there. I mean, number one's obvious. It's Jared
Cousins is
Goff.
playing better than him.
Cousins is playing pretty lights out right now. I think Cousins had 4 touchdowns this past weekend.
Hey, and he's beating them. Stafford. I got Stafford at 4.
All right. One good game. You just told me you won't give Jalen a credit.
Wait a minute. So wait a minute. You don't think Stafford's been playing great ball since he's got his guys?
He has 3 touchdown passes in 6 games.
So if you're in a football game, you're going to pick Jalen Hurts over Matthew Stafford.
That's not the exercise.
I think Stafford's having a better season, carrying what's been on with that team.
Come on, man. Stafford had one good game.
Hurts has had really one good one, too. The last one he played, Cincinnati.
Hurts' numbers are not bad this year.
Really? How about them turnovers?
What's he at? He's like 21st in the league in turnovers.
Well, how many turnovers does he have right now? Let's take a look at Jalen Hurts.
He's got 6 or 7. 7, maybe?
That's not awful.
4 fumbles, 3 picks.
Interception. He's got, how many? You got 10 turnovers?
No, he doesn't have 10 turnovers.
Well, if he's got 8, let's see here.
He doesn't have 10 turnovers this year.
He's got 4, so he's got probably 7. What is it? 3 fumbles? So he's got 7 turnovers. That's not horrible. 8 touchdowns and 4 picks.
He got 7. He got 4 interceptions and 3 lost fumbles this year. He's got 7 turnovers. That's
not horrible.
That's not bad. That's not bad. In the modern NFL, I mean, he's got a turnover a game right now. That's not bad.
That's not horrible. That's all right. That's all right.
4 8. Yeah, it was 3, Prince. And Prince, by the way, I did see your comment. Do I agree? I do agree with what you were saying, Prince.
I got Jaden Daniels at 3. You know, they're going for their 7th straight win.
Where'd you put Cousins?
I got him 5th.
Oh, that's a little low for me. I think he's been better than that this year.
You think he should be ahead of Stafford?
I definitely think he should be ahead of Stafford. Stafford had one good game, Sills. Literally.
Here's what I have. All right.
Sills, remember, though, before last week.
We all got a list here. I got it.
Before last week, Sills, we were talking about them trading Matthew Stafford because he was playing that bad.
7 Hurts, 6 Love, 5 Cousins, 4 Stafford, 3 Daniels, 2 Purdy, 1 Goff. That's who I have in the NFC right now.
All right.
Kyler Murray's kind of an oddity here.
I think I got Hurts right around. If I want to stick to what I did yesterday by putting Hurts above Daniels because I'm not sold on Daniels yet, I'd have Hurts at 3. But if I wanted to put him below Daniels because Daniels has been better this year so far, I'll have Hurts at 4. I might go Goff, Cousins, Daniels, Hurts, Purdy, Stafford, and then Kyler. Maybe Kyler above Stafford.
Kyler Murray, man, because Kyler Murray could win that division too. They're all at 4. I think the Rams are still at 3 and 4.
No, James, you're right, man. This is, you're definitely right. Jaden is doing a great job for sure. I mean, if you're judging just these 8 games, which is what I think we're doing here.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, which is why I'm critical of Stafford. But, yeah, I mean, Daniels could arguably number 2 if you go that route.
I saw a list.
I think Goff is definitely the number 1.
Oh, my God. Dude. And you know what? And I said this earlier. So I'm out on Sam Darnold. I'm not putting Darnold in there.
Yeah, but he's played good, man.
I know he has, man.
I know. I mean, look, this is a different exercise than putting your top quarterbacks.
I know.
If we're talking about the 8 games.
8 games in 2024. We're not talking about legacy here. Yeah.
I think Purdy belongs in the top 7. Yes, Chuck. I might be a Purdy guy. I don't know. I don't have Purdy 2, Philly. I think I got Goff. My list might be Goff, Daniels, Hurts, Cousins, Murray, Purdy, and Stafford.
You are really weighing in a lot the last 3 weeks of the lack of turnovers with Hurts as growth
What's
of
the
him.
trend?
Okay, but his play. How
It's
do
a
you think
trend, though.
how do you think the last 3 weeks he's played? What grade would you give that last 3 weeks? Counting the Giants game too.
Yeah, I mean, he was okay against the Browns. He wasn't a worm burner. He wasn't great against the Giants, but I mean, I think the way the team is played is what's given me the optimism. Because last time our team played like
So
that,
is it the team or is it him that you're more
yeah, but
optimistic?
but the team playing like that benefits him. That's why he was in the MVP conversation in 22. So if they get back to that formula, I mean, I think he could be the best quarterback in the NFC.
If
But
they
that means
get
they got to
back to
stick with
that
that.
formula, yes.
They've been on it. I mean, right? I mean, they've been sticking to it a little bit here.
They get
Team
back to
game.
that
I agree,
formula.
Jarrell. It's a team game.
They get back to that formula.
Wait,
Yeah.
let me show Philly 500 something. Philly, look at this. I got something for Philly 500. The legend.
No way. This
The
is
legend.
great.
The legendary Philly 500. Let me turn off
He's
my
so
virtual
kind
background.
to us too, man, coming on the program.
Check it out. Check out this.
No way.
How epic is this shirt?
That is absolute. Look at that. Philly, have you seen this?
Yeah, it's on his thing. I ordered
That's
it up.
fantastic.
Right? Got to go get your Philly 500 merch, everybody.
Way to go, dog.
Yeah, I'm happy he's in here. I'm happy. That literally delivered to my house today. I was gonna wear it on the show. I wanted to wear it on Wednesday, but it didn't deliver when Philly was coming up after me.
Very good, man. All good. That's
Great shirt, 500. Love it, man.
Okay, so in your opinion right now, last 3 weeks, the most impressive thing about Jalen Hurts has been the turnovers, in your opinion.
I mean, it's not just that. I think it's the total body of work. I mean, look,
Okay.
last week he played very efficient football.
Efficient, okay?
And he's gotten better each week. Like the Browns game, he got the no turnovers down, but he didn't have like a great game. The Giants game, he was efficient. They ran the ball a lot, no turnovers. I thought he built on it. Last week, you started to see him slicing and dicing in the air again with no turnovers, with a balanced attack, and the offense destroyed, I think, a formidable, I don't think a brutal team. I mean, I know people are critical of the Bengals. They don't have the best defense, but look, you know how it is, Sills. Anytime you have an elite quarterback, you're a player in the league. I mean, that's how it works. Joe Burrow is a great player. So I thought it was a good win last week, man. 37 points on that team. I thought it was a good win. I really did.
You know, there was something that was said in the press conference the other day by Nick Sirianni, and I think people, when I posted it, thought that I was taking a shot at Nick, and I really wasn't. So Nick was kind of like this. He went, got to hand it to Doug Peterson. I'm paraphrasing this now. He goes, Doug, man, he helped me out on my transition on being the head coach, and here's a guy that was just fired. And then he went like this, man, I don't know. There's no way I could do something like that. But then he caught himself, and he kind of tried to but I got to tell you the truth. Any place I've ever been canned or any place that someone's taken my position, I'm sorry, dude. I'm not rooting for you. I'm just not. I'm not rooting for you, and I'm just being transparent here with it. You think I want someone to come in here? If I got replaced here and I want them to do a better job than me? Absolutely not. I don't want anybody to have a better radio show than me. I don't want anyone to have a better TV show than me. And there's no way. Do you really think Anthony Richardson is hoping that Joe Flacco plays better than him now that he's been demoted?
No.
I mean, hey, by the way, how did Carson Wentz act after Nick Foles got the Super Bowl and everyone was looking at him when he was moping in the Super Bowl right after the win? There he is in his locker over there moaning and crying. How do you think he felt?
Yeah, no, you're right. What do you think of the Anthony Richardson thing?
But if you're benching him because he's sucking, which he is, that's one thing. If you're benching him because of that incident, that's the wrong thing. Young players make stupid mistakes. Okay? They make stupid mistakes. They don't do the right things. Today's athlete is different. And if you can't adjust to that, you're the wrong guy in the building. You've got to go over and above more today. Xander, you can't grab a guy by his face mask anymore and turn it like you did back in the day. You've got to have more of a cerebral connection with the guy to be able to talk to them, because these kids today are different than what it was. you're asking questions like this. Why am I doing that? Back then, you ran through a wall or into a fire when your coach told you. That's not the kid of today. And if you don't understand that, you're not adapting with the times. That's the great coach, in my opinion. And I think Shane sat him because of this. Shane also has an owner that's a psychotic and a pill-popping maniac.
Yeah, he is.
Jim Irsay. He's got to be concerned about his gig at all times, or that will be pulled out from him the same way. And by the way, do I think that Jim Irsay had something to do with that? Probably. He hated Carson Wentz. Wentz had a hell of a season in Indianapolis this year there. 27 touchdowns and 6 picks. That was not an awful year for him, man. And he hated him, and so they ended up moving on from him. So,
dude, if you think about that, you just said those stats. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, he had 3,800 passing.
Guy throws 27 touchdowns and 6 picks for you, and you acted like he was the worst thing you ever seen.
And look at the quarterback play you've had since.
I know.
I mean,
that dude is a spy. So I think 2 things can be true here with Richardson. I think there's a major problem of rushing QBs in the NFL. I'm not, but here's the second thing that might.
But they also overdrafted him.
Well, he might also suck. I don't know. I think it's too early to tell.
He sucked at Florida.
And that's where that's where my bias might come from, where I watched him at Florida in the SEC, and I'm like, this guy, I never thought he should have been drafted where he was drafted. But I do think there's a rush process. And look, I think it benefited Jalen Hurts that he was on the bench for most of his rookie year. I think it benefited Patrick Mahomes. Remember, Andy Reid and Brett Veach drafted him and put him on the bench behind Alex Smith for a year. Aaron Rodgers 3 years. Jordan Love 3 years on the bench. Like, that's still a great formula for success for quarterbacks. And, when a position is that valuable, I think you kind of got to get back to that a little bit. Now, I think the rushes, right, organizations want to turn around so bad. And then you also see, you know what makes it harder for those other quarterbacks? The Jaden Daniels of the world and the CJ Strouds of the world, where they come in and they completely change a franchise around in 1 year. And that's what I think, every franchise dreams of having. And then they rush him out there, and I don't know about Richardson. I will say that. I really don't know about
Dude, Richardson. He was 51% completion percentage at Florida. I never thought he was good. By the way, all super chats will be read at the end here. We promise you. Don't forget also Merl Reese will join us. That'll be at 4:30. Yeah, here's Jim Irsay here, Xander. He went 9-8, had a 63 quarterback percentage completion rate, threw for 3,600 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 7 picks, and you fired him. I mean, what have you had since him in Indianapolis?
Yeah, I mean, somebody brings up, and maybe this is a fine point. And you don't know. I mean, I don't know this to be true, but it is fair because he was obviously somewhat of an issue in Philly with this too. Maybe he was a cancer in the locker room. Well, a lot of people.
Why would Andy bring a cancer in his own locker room then?
Who?
Why would Andy bring a cancer into a locker room?
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I think he's at a different phase.
Why would Sean McVay bring a cancer into a locker room?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, look, I think he's at a different phase of his career now where he's kind of accepted the backup role.
Okay.
And that'll change, I guess, your mentality.
He's going to get an opportunity to be a starter somewhere because
you think so?
Oh, I do.
He's got to be pretty old now. What's he, 33?
No way.
31. No way. All right, it's 31.
You know why he's going to get a shot? Because Sam Darnold did.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, Wentz has a lot of talent. We all know that.
Got a chance to turn his career around.
Yeah. You think?
I think Gino's old. Gino's older, isn't he? Gino's like
34. Yeah, he's 34.
35.
Wow, that'd be crazy. If Carson Wentz revives his career and gets a big-ass contract again, that would be wild.
How about Carson Wentz wins another Super Bowl ring?
Well, he might win one this year in Kansas City.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He may get his second Super Bowl ring sitting on the pine. Not too bad there, man.
It's a wait-and-see league in the NFC, man. You remember that? I saw a clip today floating around Twitter of the Lions collapse in that NFC title game.
Terrible coaching, actually.
Really bad coaching, but man, that was a bad game for them. So look, anything can happen. I think if the Eagles just stay close, stay in it, keep building, and keep a good semblance of a team unit together and be bought in, I think at any given moment we can beat anybody in this league.
I think any team can beat anybody.
I agree.
I think that applies to anybody. How about this? Are you concerned about this? Jalen Carter did not practice yesterday. Dickerson didn't practice. Goddard, obviously, hamstring, didn't practice. Slay, groin, didn't practice. And Becton left practice, concussion.
I mean, it's obviously a little concerning when you hear it, but, John McMullen just put out today, Jalen Carter was back at practice today.
Okay.
So that was good. Let me see if he gave any other updates on some of the other guys, but, yeah, no, just Jalen. He just tweeted out that Jalen. I'm sure there'll be an injury report today, but Jalen was back out there. So John kind of mentioned to me they're keeping him.
I think they're more resting him than they are.
Yeah, I think he tweaked something in his shoulder, Jalen Carter, and they're just trying. It's not anything bad, but they're trying to make sure it gets back to 100%. And they're not working him in practice. So, and I think Becton's good and Landon is good as well. So everybody should be good. I think the Eagles just have this approach, for better or for worse, whether you like it or you don't, they like to try and keep their guys healthy and not put them through too much during the week, especially the guys that don't need it. I mean, that's the Saquon approach. They're barely practicing Saquon. I mean, when he's out there, he's not practicing super hard. They're running them in the games and they're kind of letting them coast during the week, which I don't think is a bad approach.
Let me ask you this here. You want them to stay on the same rhythm and you want them to stay with the same approach. Philly 500's in here too with us. You want them to stay on the same approach that they have the last 3 weeks of predominantly being a team that inflicts their will by running the ball and by being effective in the passing game. I'm not saying the numbers have to be 14. They could be 22, 23 in passes.
Right.
I'm somewhere in that room, right? You want them to be that.
I think that's the best method. I mean, we pointed out those running stats yesterday, and I brought it up with John, and he's like, look, that's because those are the teams that are winning games. Yes, they're going to run more when they're winning games. They close them out with the run. And I'm like, all right.
They're setting the passing.
Like, but sometimes you just got to let shit go because, he feels the same way I feel, that I'm not getting through to him and he's not getting through to me. So It's one of those conversations where it was just like, all right, we're going to agree to disagree.
Obviously, if you just watch the game, you see what's going on.
I agree. I mean, watch Detroit. Their rate of running in the first quarter is
right.
high. It's not just closing out games.
Right.
You got to inflict your will a little bit. And that's the way
they played a Jalen Hurts game. The guy had, what did he have? 85 yards passing, but what was he? He was effective in those passes because why? They scored 21 points.
Yeah.
He threw 21 touchdowns. Think about that. 21 points and touchdowns he threw, and he only threw 85 yards. What's that tell you? They must have ran the fuck out of that ball there in that game, and they were constantly.
Well, yeah, they got a big lead. That's not even the greatest example. They've had other games where, they've been in a little bit tighter contest. Who was the game that they were down 10 and they came back and won the game?
Minnesota.
Right. They ran the ball. Even down 10, they were running the football. And I keep saying this, but look, whatever. It's falling on dead ears. Everybody can have their own opinion on it, obviously. I think it's the best approach for this football team. Be balanced. Okay. I'm not saying get rid of the passing game. I'm not saying get rid of it. Be balanced. Find the moment. And I also think early in games it's important because it kind of lets everybody settle into the game. You come out with a quarterback, it's like Sills. You're grinding a gear with no oil in it, right? I mean, tossing go routes to the first play of the game.
I'm going to tell you why I asked you this question. Ready?
Good.
Well, the one thing that the Jags do well is stop the run. They're 9th. Okay?
They're not that good at it, Sills.
You're 9th. You're not awful. That's 8 weeks of football.
Okay, but did you look at the metric?
I did.
The first in the NFL is holding them to.
Wait a minute. That's what they do best.
Still giving up 111 yards a game.
Okay, well, that's not awful in today's NFL. How much are the Eagles giving up? The Eagles are giving up 120.
They're right in there. That's what I mean. From 9 to 20 is in the same range.
Right. So you're in the middle of the road. I'm not. That's the only thing they do well on that side of the ball. And here's where I was going. It's not really the point I'm making here. The point I'm making is, do you stay with that formula? Do you want, or do you do this? They're awful in pass defense. They're 31st.
Yeah, they're worst.
Do you start throwing the hell out of the football in this game? Or do you get into a position where, again, you stick with what you are and who you are, like Baltimore does? I think this is going to be the first game, Xander, where we're going to test that philosophy because you know what this is a setup for? 35 passes because, dude, I can't tell you. That might be the worst pass defense in pro football right now, that Jags secondary.
Yeah, they're bad.
They're absolutely awful. And you got 2 premier wide receivers, and you got a tight end that's emerging. and you got a running back who can kill you also in the perimeter if you get the ball out to him. Do you start off by passing? Like you put those first 25 plays out there and you're more so on the passing side because they can't, or do you stick with the formula that's been winning more where you run the ball more than you throw it? What are you doing?
If it's me, I'm sticking with the formula, but I'm looking for a little bit more opportunities, knowing that that's my opponent's weakness, right? I mean, that's the art of war by Sun Tzu. I mean, exploit your opponent's weaknesses. Seriously, right? I mean, that doesn't mean you're going to abandon the run, but you know that your opponent can't stop the pass. Okay, look for more opportunities, but that doesn't mean become something you're not. So I would run it early in the game, look for opportunities in the pass game, and I think they're going to be there in a big way. I actually think this could be Jalen's biggest game in the air this week because, they'll probably run up 3-4 touchdowns, on this team if they can't stop the pass.
Jalen's biggest day of the year, 182 yards passing. Oh, that'll be his biggest. Oh, wait, no, 240 would be probably his biggest day passing. Oh, my God. You guys, man, you don't know the shit that I'm taking lately here about all you honks that are now all of a sudden back on the Hurts. Hey, dude, this guy's okay. He's okay.
Like you say, those players change your opinions because the games change. If they get back to this formula,
yes,
you said it on Monday after the game, and it wasn't even me. This looks more like 22. We saw what 22 can be. I mean, we went toe-to-toe with Mahomes. We lost, I know, but we did go there. If that's what we can be, and I think that's how we're built still to this day, and the defense is well ahead of schedule right now. I mean, if they stick with this game plan, this is something you can ride all the way to the end. I think you can beat Detroit.
Not today.
Not today. I'm saying I think this defense,
January
getting up. I think there's some mismatches too for Detroit.
Hey, oh yes. By the way, let's see what Detroit does by the 5th, November 5th. Let's see what they do on the 5th. That's trading deadline because if they land Trey Hendrickson and you got Trey Hendrickson out there pass rushing, dude, God forbid they get Max Crosby because then you're talking about Max Crosby. I'm not saying that either. I think they're going to make a B move.
They might be the game of the weekend. I think they're playing the Packers this weekend. That's a hell of a game, man. Those are
old school NFC North game.
Those are probably the two biggest contenders at this point in the NFC for the Eagles right now. Probably. I think the Eagles are up at the top, and I think it's Detroit, Green Bay is up there for sure. They're finding their stride. Jordan Love's playing well. He's turning the ball over way too much, though. He's got 9 picks, dude.
Mm-hmm.
9 picks. Now, he's got a lot of talent, that kid. I like him a lot as a player, but he's got to clean that up or that's not winning football. So,
are they 5-2? Are you talking Packers, right?
They're 6-2.
They're 6-2.
Yep, they're 6-2.
Okay.
They're a good team, man.
Absolutely.
One of their losses was to the Eagles. Now, that was week 1, so it's kind of a little bit different way to look at it with week 1, but still a good win for the Eagles.
How about this one here, Xander? Next week, November 5th, trading deadline, 4 p.m. Eastern. If I'm going to make a move for somebody, I'm going to make a move for a veteran, and here's why. I don't want to take quality reps away from the young kids. I want a guy who can fit in and know how to fit into a locker room without having to work his way in. I don't want a young guy wanting to try to work his way in to reps because I'm not touching the linebackers. I'm not touching. I might touch.
Where are you going? The end?
I'm here. I'm not touching the linebackers. I'm not touching the safeties. Boy, I'd like to get rid of Slay.
Nah.
I'd like to get rid of Slay and get Rodgers out there and get him more reps and just let all the youngsters go, man, because, dude, Slay's been in and out of the lineup.
I know, but dude,
he's been banged up all year.
Dude,
every
Slay's
game he's leaving.
Look, I'm not the big – I was the one this summer who called for a trade.
You really think he's played well this year?
Oh, he's played very well.
I don't –
Played very well.
He hasn't been out there on the field a lot.
Well, he has been out there a decent amount, and he's graded out very well. I mean, you've seen him he saved a touchdown last week in the end zone. I'm not the biggest Slay guy in the world, but, dude, if you're going to sit here and say, we want to compete for a Super Bowl this year, you don't even think about trading Slay. Stop. Think about that, Sills. Think about what you're saying, because I get it.
How good do you think he's going to be in January?
And so your solution to that though
No, no,
is
no. How good do you think he'll be in? How good do you think he'll be? And by the way, if he was such a great football player, what happened to him a year ago with the 31st ranked defense and pass defense? All of a sudden now Vic has a new system, and all of a sudden they're better in pass defense. It ain't because of him. It's because clearly the coordinator has made it possible for the entire defense because they're starting to get pressure and stopping the run. That's why that secondary is playing better. The guy only plays center field for you. And my question would be with a 35-year-old corner, how's he going to play in December?
all right. So here's my
He's been
problem with it.
banged
It's
up
not.
all year. I think that guy's going to fall to pieces by January. He's falling.
You might be
apart
right
in front
about that.
He's falling apart in front of you now, and it's only the first 6 weeks of the season.
Yeah, I mean that,
You've
or
got
he
11
knows
more
he's
games
older.
to go.
That, or he knows he's older, and he's going to have to. The end is more important than right now. So, but look,
Or maybe
here's my
rotate him.
problem. Here's my problem with the Slay conversation right now. It's less about Slay and more about if we believe we have a shot this year, an inkling of a shot, whatever it is. If you believe you have a shot, you do not put your cornerback 1 or cornerback 2 duties in the hands of Isaiah Rodgers or Keely Ringo, 2 completely unproven players. You just don't do that, Sills.
But I'm not going to put my cornerback play in the hands of a guy that is fading in health.
Slay's been good this year, dude.
It's fading in health and durability.
I think we're looking at this the same. You're talking about next year. I agree. Entertain the conversation for sure. I don't think we need Slay back next year.
You're not this goes to 95% of the teams. You're not a Super Bowl team yet. You're trying to get to December to determine whether or not you're going to be.
And you think trading Slay will do that?
Wait a minute. Because the war of attrition is going to dictate that. I think that guy's falling into the hands of the war of attrition. I'm going to tell you this. There's a great chance I think that guy won't finish the season.
You might be right.
How many games has he not finished this year? 3? 2?
Yeah, what's his stats this year? How many games has he played? I mean, look, I think you bring up a good point. He's
played in all of them, but I think he's been pulled. I think he's come out of not almost all of them. I think he's come out of 3 of them.
Let's see where he's at this year.
I think
he's played in all. He's played in all 7 games.
But he's been. Yeah. He missed the entire second half. Last week.
Yeah, no, fourth quarter, right?
Was it fourth? I thought he got hurt. Then he got hurt the week before against the Giants.
Look, I get what you're saying because I brought this up in the offseason. Everybody ripped me. I'm like, should we trade Slay and get the young guys up and try and get an asset for him? People didn't like it then. Now I'm sitting here and I'm like, I think at this point, through 8 weeks, if you believe you're a Super Bowl contender, it's not the right time to trade your captain cornerback. It's just not. It's not. Look, what does that signal to the team? I mean, what are we saying about the Jaguars this year? Same deal. They believe that the left tackle's a little old. He's on a 1-year deal. They don't want to bring him back next year.
So their season's over.
Their season's over.
Right.
I mean, they literally looked like they waved the white flag after week 8. I don't believe that that's the right move for the Eagles to make to signal to your locker room, to your fan base, to anybody. Now, if you got issues with Slay, I don't have a problem with your issues. Not you, just anybody in general. I think they're fine, but I don't think you get rid of them.
My attitude with the football team is that the youth has taken over and that there's an energy with the young guys. The young guys are adapting to Vic. I'll tell you this is an indictment a little bit on the Miami Dolphins, and I really like their young group back there. By the way, I think that play, and it was singled out by Vic Fangio on how athletic it was when it came to Isaiah Rodgers. He was a huge fan, and he was asked a question about more reps, and he said he is going to get more reps, and you're going to see him out on the field a lot more. By the way, I think they're going to keep that Cooper kid there in the slot, and they're going to keep him. Let me tell you this, man. Look how young you could be out there. You have Isaiah Rodgers out there and Cooper DeJean in the slot, and you have Quinyon Mitchell over there at corner. You got your fucking secondary set up for the next 7 years.
I hear you, but let me ask you this. Is there a fine line that you're walking there between
completely
too young, and not enough vet? Because look, I get the concern with Slay. I really do. I mean, I'm not the biggest Slay guy. I've admitted that. But you want to go into this playoffs versus teams like the Lions and, whoever who comes out of the AFC looking for a chance to win, and you're going to have 3 young, unproven dudes out there who've never played late in an NFL season, I think that's riskier than keeping Slay. I really do.
So to me, I think it's 50-50. He makes the season. It makes the playoffs. Fair.
I'd feel a whole lot better about Isaiah Rodgers in a limited role late in the year than I do about making him the full-time guy. Remember, everybody's high on Isaiah Rodgers right now because he made a good play in a quarter of ball.
A great play.
A great play. It was a phenomenal play, actually. I'll go as far as to say it was one of the better plays on defense of the year for the Eagles. You got to, if he gets out there, I think more in the field, he could get exposed. That's all I'm saying. There's a reason he was kind of a castaway.
Well, actually, I thought it was because the Colts didn't know how to utilize him because they only put him on special teams there too and never really gave him an opportunity.
He played in coverage over there.
But I will say this. You know what I feel better with Isaiah Rodgers than I do with Darius Slay? That guy's not going to get beat deep. Every single time I see guys running past Darius Slay, his veteran leadership and understanding the position, what does he do? Grabs him because he knows that he can't run with these guys any longer. Dude, he's still a good cover guy. He's not going to not be a good cover guy. But I think he's limited in health, and I think those big, deep passes get past, and he gets those guys behind him. And to me,
look, he made a hell of a play in the end zone the other game.
I think Isaiah gives you more youth and more speed at that position than what Darius Slay does. And
it maybe does. I mean, it maybe does. You're probably right about that. I just don't want to go there. Where I think Slay is really a liability is actually in the tight situations where you don't have to worry about over the top. Like, for example, like goal line, in and outs with quick routes. That's where I think Slay gets beat. I mean, you saw him get beat in the Super Bowl, obviously, famously. That's where I don't like Slay, where I think he's older and he's not as quick as he used to be. But I don't know.
And by the way, just to show you what Senor doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, when you're sitting inside of a room that you're deciding on what to do on a trade, don't you think that Howie Roseman and the coaches and the analytic guys are spitting out potentials and writing everything on the board that Xander and I are talking about right now on what potential moves they could possibly make to better the team? Howie says he's constantly always trying to improve the team. What do you think he does? He puts his thumb up his ass, Senor, all freaking day long? That guy's constantly thinking of scenarios to get the football team better. That's what a general manager does. That's how a general manager gets himself a quarterback or a guy in a latter round to bring in and make your football team better, is spitting those ideas around. That's how you improve your roster, not sitting around like you and jerking off.
All right, how much stock you put in? I know you don't like this, but what's your thought on PFF?
50-50. Some things are good, some things are bad.
Okay.
I like
that's about where I am as well. Who's been better this year, Quinyon Mitchell or Darius Slay?
Probably because of the limited targets on his side. He's probably going to have a higher rating, Slay, but in my opinion, Mitchell's better.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Slay's graded out like 19th right now in the NFL. Quinyon's down at 40. So I'm not saying that's everything. I'm not saying that's everything.
How about
I'm
this?
Just saying,
when you use your eyeball test, who are you feeling better with, Mitchell or Slay?
I haven't seen Slay get beat. Like, where is everybody coming up when Slay's getting burnt? He's not getting burnt. He's giving up a couple throws.
I don't think they've really played anybody in the last 3 weeks that throws the ball to anybody.
Dude, Joe Burrow tried to dot something to the end zone on Slay, and he broke it up beautifully. That was a targeting that.
If Jamar Chase only had one fucking catch, who was he eating up then in the secondary?
Well, they play zone defense, so it's a little bit
harder.
Oh,
that's why those numbers are effed up when it comes to PFF. You know why? Because when I see that Quinyon Mitchell number, all of a sudden I see Joe Burrow go 17 plays, and he's eating somebody up in the second half, and people are going like this. Wait a minute, what happened here? I mean, he killed somebody, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. I hear everybody. I just don't like the idea of trading a veteran captain. I know he's not the greatest captain. I get it, but I don't like the idea. I mean, look, let's just go through it. Eagles announced they trade Darius Slay. What's your reaction?
I don't care. If I'm one of them young guys that play on that team ball, you know what I mean? To me, that means you're showing more. You're giving these guys more of a pat on the back, and you're showing more confidence in the younger players that you can pick it up Because that's why you drafted him too. You drafted him, and now you're seeing the confidence. I'll tell you this: if I'm a young player and 35-year-old Slay's there, and they trade him away, and all of a sudden Vic walks in the room, he's going to look at the young guys going, "It's your time now." And those young guys are going to take ownership of that shit and go like this. Holy shit, they traded away a captain because they feel confident in Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Isaiah Rodgers, all the guys back there. They feel comfortable with us, and that would give me energy. I could give a shit about the guy. It's part of the game, man. Hey, congratulations. Here's your thing. Your next general manager. We love you, Slay, but this is about the group here. It's not about him.
Yeah,
Dude,
I'm not into it.
You're telling me as a young football player that if you saw something dealt like that, you're not telling me the younger players in the room wouldn't go, wow, these guys are showing tremendous confidence in me. I wouldn't sit here going like this. Wow, that's terrible.
Yeah, but that's in a perfect world. You're also assuming that people in the locker room wouldn't be like,
that is
our front office traded away our star cornerback? I mean,
star cornerback? I'm not.
That's the perception, though.
I do not believe he's a star.
Okay, I'm just saying you might signal the wrong thing to the locker room that we're sellers, we're not buyers. I mean, teams that go to Super Bowl sills don't trade their cornerback one at the deadline.
That guy is not making the year. That's just going to be in a prediction here.
Yeah, but that's a different event. Wait, let me ask you this. Last thing on
him
Slay.
like you do.
Last thing on Slay. Because this could tilt the scale.
I don't see him like you do.
All right, this could tilt the scale. What are you presuming to get back for him in a trade?
Nothing. He's not, dude. If you traded Darius Slay right now, you wouldn't get more than a 6th rounder for him. He's 35 years old and makes $11 million. Who's trading for that?
You're right. That's why I ain't trading him. The fuck you want a 6th rounder for?
So he has a 6th round value. Okay.
What do you want a 6th rounder for?
You're calling that a star? You know what a star is? 2 first rounders for Patrick Surtain. That's a star.
Well, dude, he's like 25.
No shit. That's my dude. The economics of business too has to play a factor in all this.
I hear you. I'm not quite as sold on Isaiah Rodgers.
I'm not quite as sold that you think that guy's a star still either.
Well,
I don't believe he is. I think
there's a lot of folks who are putting the cart before the horse with.
I think he's a fine ball player. I don't think he's a great ball player anymore. I think his best years are 2 years ago.
Dude, you're acting like he's out there getting torched every week.
I think anybody could play center field in that defense. James Bradbury proved that to you.
I think people's biggest problem with Slay is more about the personality, and I don't have an issue with that. I don't love it either. But I mean, if we're talking about, I mean, play on the field, it hasn't been.
James Bradbury proved to you that anybody could play in that system. Got a $9 million a year deal.
I'm not a PFF buyer, so I don't know how to look up how many.
They have some good things in there, but yeah, okay. Look, if somebody put the tape on, they would all be going like this. This Mitchell kid looks great. He's better than the other guy on the other side, but yet that guy's rated higher. Okay, well,
all right. So what's a better approach? Even if you're right, would you rather have Slay with Rodgers and Ringo or have Rodgers and Ringo without Slay?
Man, I want to remember what I told you about compromising and losing games early so that the betterment of the team is better in November and December going into January. If I could get my younger players playing at optimum football like the Kansas City Chiefs did the last 2 years to get my defense up to where I need it to be, and I could look like Kansas City and what they're doing defensively, that's what I want to look like. I'm not sitting around holding on to guys. If I can make my football team look like that defense, I want to play. You even said this to me. I want to play the younger guys.
Sills, but don't you think the time for that is now past, dude? We're in a different time of the year. That's off-season talk.
Okay. Hey, I'm not as high on the guy you are as you are.
No, I agree. I was the one, but that's why in the offseason I was saying trade him. Now you're in week 8. What the hell you want to trade him in week 8 for? What's that getting us, everybody? What's that getting us? No, because here's what it's doing. It's creating a question on your defense that you don't have right now. You don't know what Isaiah Rodgers is going to be in the game. You don't know what Keely Ringo is going to be.
And I don't know if Slay's going to continue to be in and out of the lineup.
I'd rather have that question than not know if a guy can play.
You can't build a defense around people who are not in the lineup.
Defense isn't built around Slay.
That secondary you think is not built around the corners if you're going to not get pressure.
Yeah, but he's
The
not the only guy out there.
That is so not true. You spent $25 million on 2 corners. Bradbury makes, like I said, 10, and the other guy makes 11.
All right, now you're in a different conversation. Yeah, Howie fucked up with some of those contracts, no doubt.
But that's where they spend the money and the equity in drafts. They went 1 and 2 in the draft, and they paid 25 for 2 corners. Where do you think they go on defense more than anywhere else? They go there, and they paid, and they were wrong on Huff. But, dude, they spend money, and they spend equity on the corners.
All right, so let's just continue this conversation because it's a good one. All right, so we trade Slay, and Isaiah Rodgers gets absolutely destroyed in the next couple of weeks versus quarterbacks. I
don't believe he will.
Okay, well, you have Trevor Lawrence, you have Dak Prescott coming up, you got Jaden Daniels, you got Matthew Stafford, and you got Lamar Jackson. Okay, so what's the solution if you go out there and Isaiah Rodgers can't cover a traffic cone?
I don't think he's going to. He's playing center field. This guy's not playing man coverage.
I think you create.
Darius Slay is getting paid to play center field, and in my opinion, I think anybody can play that position.
I don't understand the desire to create a question on defense. I just don't.
Because there is a question. I have a question with his health and his availability.
I know, but you have that.
And so far in 8 weeks, there's been a question of his availability.
That's fair. I mean, you're always going to have that in the NFL, though, dude. Anybody can go down at any given moment.
I'm just saying. Here, well, let's take it off those two and go here.
Wait, can we knock on wood? There's been no knock on wood. There's been no big quarterback injuries yet this year, right? Like last year, I feel like quarterbacks were dropping like flies, man.
Who was out for a bit?
Jordan Love missed like a couple games, but like there's been no There's been no big injury, right?
Love missed a few games.
Watson's one.
Well, really, I don't know.
Well, he's not a great.
We're talking about good quarterbacks here.
Tua missed. All right, yeah. So there's been I felt like last year though, man. Like it started with Aaron Rodgers in week 1, and it just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
they kept going. But
65 quarterbacks played last year in the NFL.
Yeah,
think about that.
Crazy.
Hey, let's get to the super chats because we have Merl coming up at the bottom of the hour.
Yeah, appreciate everybody, man.
Thank you, guys. You guys are great. Please hit the like button.
Jarrell checks in. Jarrell, what's up, bro? Are we worried about fucking stats or fucking winning games? Sills, did Jimmy give a damn about Vinny Testaverde throwing for 4K? Yes, Jarrell. I love it. That's exactly how you shut Sills' ass up, is you turn it into Miami football and you say, why? If it didn't matter then, why does it matter now?
Because the game is set up for the passing game.
Oh, bullshit.
It's
win.
Not.
Just win.
It's not set up for the passing
game.
Win,
baby, win.
Yeah, all right. Win, baby, win. Holy shit, that's right. I forgot. We're here now with the Jalen Hurts fandom club here.
Jarrell.
Yeah, I do like Jarrell, though, man. Go ahead. Any green balls? No, it's green head. Hey, M. Reyes, I thought you were a paisan. Testaverde means green head in Italian. Thank you. Go ahead.
Just win, baby. Just win. Justo says, hey, Siri, what's the best formula to get a Super Bowl in Philly? Run, Saquon, run. Your 2 best running backs on the team, Barkley and Hurts.
There you go. Your 2 best running backs, I agree.
My iPhone just loaded up Siri when I did that.
There you go, man. Look at that. Barkley and Hurts, best running backs on the team. I love it.
Yeah, great stuff. Jarrell again, my man Jarrell says, Shane probably wanted Richardson after coaching Jalen and having a successful season and a half.
Yes.
Yeah, but they're not the same. That's a knock on Jalen to compare those two guys. Richardson's nowhere near as good as Jalen Hurts.
And Jarrell, Richardson never put up the year that Jalen did, both when he won the SEC Player of the Year and also the year he had an OU. He never put anything like Xander and I are SEC honks. He was terrible there, man.
He was bad. He was really bad.
Dude, he was the 4th pick in the draft. I went, what? He had a 51% completion percentage there. I could not believe that they took him 4th. I'm like, that guy is nowhere a good player. They totally overdrafted him, man. How about this from that 23 draft? The 1st pick and the 4th pick look like bums.
Who was the first?
Bryce Young. I know. I hate that too, dude. I like the kid a lot.
I know. Look, I loved him at Bama. I met him at the Maxwell Awards. When I met him at the Maxwell, and I'm looking at him, and
I'm a fan of him.
taller than Bryce Young. I'm like, oh shit, I don't know if he's gonna make it in the NFL.
Xander, I'm a fan of him too, man. I am. You know, it's a guy.
Dudes aren't built for the NFL though. I don't know if he's built for the NFL.
Yeah,
I don't think he is.
I hope he goes somewhere
Justo
else.
Again, appreciate it, Justo. He says Xander Sills feels left out. Got to get him a T-shirt with his face.
Don't worry about it, Justo. You know what? I've asked 100 times. I asked for clips. I asked for shirts. You know what I get? Ungats. I get ungats.
He gets a multi-million-dollar salary is what he gets. He gets a massive, he gets all my money. So I got no extra. I don't got a couple extra peanuts to buy a shirt. All right,
that's a true statement right now going on here.
Abe checked in. Right, Sills. They want to be pandered like Tua.
Tua led the NFL in passing yards last year. He's a good football player, man. I like Tua.
Jalen Hurts, 1544, 8 tutties, 4 inch, 98.6 rating, and then he gave Purdy's. Holy shit, this Purdy already hit 2,000.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Purdy, 2101, 10 tutties, 7 inch, 4.4.
And Hurts is on pace for 3,600 yards. Go get him, kid.
Yeah, by the way, these were now before you brought me on, but Prince was right with this, man. He was right with this.
He ain't right with shit.
He is. Yeah. Why? If he wasn't right, then Andy Reid wouldn't have traded for DeAndre Hopkins. It's a fact.
Dude, you're making DeAndre Hopkins sound like DeAndre Hopkins of 8 years ago.
No. You're missing the point.
What's the point?
The point is that he still felt like he needed more.
He is right now. They need a guy.
Sills, you need somebody, man.
Rasheed Rice got hurt.
They brought in a guy.
Okay, they brought in a guy. They brought in Julio Jones.
Prince, I'm with you. Sills ain't gonna. It's
out of your mind. Out of your mind.
It's in this year and then out this one. Polska Trucker says, I do believe we need to get a veteran at DE or D line like Sue and Joseph a few years ago. Hashtag pander the Xander. I love it, Polska.
There you go. That's
the worst nickname I've ever been dubbed in my life is stupid pander Xander. Because in a couple of weeks, you guys will be saying I'm no longer pandering when I rip AJ Brown for some stupid.
Don't worry there, Polsky, because it'll be back to the same shit. Because you know why? You'll all come back to Big Sills again and go, I can't believe you were white, Sillies. I can't believe it. He stinks. I want a new toy at quarterback. I know what's up. I got
Devontae. What's up, my guy? Devontae's spelling of Devontae is my favorite. I don't like Devontae Smith's. I don't like Devontae Adams's. I like Devontae right here. Devante. I think that's fresh. He checks in. What's up, my man? He says, I'm calling Barkley Bowl in Jacksonville, and Hurts is elite. Shout out, Playmaker.
I had to kick his ass last
night. Yeah, Devontae.
Come on my program and talk shit like that.
Who better to shut Big Sills' ass up than a Miami Hurricane legend?
Oh, man, that was terrible. That was terrible. Don't forget, our good friend Merl Reese is going to join us here, too, also in a couple minutes. I got to take a timeout. I haven't taken a timeout yet.
Dude, it's unbelievable. You can just go, man. You're impressive.
I can't believe I haven't taken. Well, you know what I like to do? I like to, like the Eagles haven't done finally for the first 3 times this year, this 3 weeks. I like to get momentum going, kid. That's what I like to do is get momentum going.
Yeah, so when I tell you let Jalen get some momentum, why you get so mad?
Because I don't believe he can have momentum, because I don't believe he's capable of it.
Oh, bullshit.
I don't believe that the organization is capable. I want to see this week.
That is bullshit.
Okay. All right. No, he's been great this year. Guy's been average.
Yeah, what's been going on in the chat today, man? That's what I told you before the show. Don't open.
You know what? I'm questioning now your taste in like in chicks and stuff. I mean, I know you date a really beautiful girl now, but dude, I mean, I'm kind of shocked because at the end of the day here, man, I mean, Jalen Hurts is like an okay looking chick right now. You don't date okay. You and me date the prom. We date prom queens. I mean, the guy's been okay. I mean, you know, he's
what
not
a shitty analogy to use. I don't look at Jalen Hurts.
He's not fat. He's not, whatever. And he's kind of okay. It's kind of like a chick that wants, to go right, Holy cow, man. I think the prom.
I don't know what the hell Sills meant right there. I really don't. Forrest, Is that a pause? Can we get a pause for Big Sills there? I don't know what the hell he's talking about
I know
right now.
this.
Pause.
Let me go.
Look, dude, I like what I've seen. I'm not look, Sills. I honestly do. I know that sometimes I'll probably come off to people like I got eagle colored glasses.
You should.
I really don't, because the people I grew up with, the kids I went to school with and shit, they used to hate me because I was always shitting on the Philly teams, because I always had a gripe with them. I give it to you how I see it. First 4 weeks, I said Jalen Hurts looks like a stiff and he needs to get his shit together. Last 3 weeks, I'm like, this looks like what we wanted it to look like.
So you were the Sills in high school?
I was the Sills of high school.
Wait, you were the Sills of St. Joe's?
I was.
Wow, the nuns and the priests.
I had people pissed off, man.
Well, hey, Xander Krause, Sister Judith would like to see you. Please come down here. You're talking too much shit on the bird.
Don't bring me back to the grade school Catholic school days. I lived in the principal's office. Might be renamed after me for all I know right now, dude.
I told you, man. I had Sister Marguerite Fish, and she used to have a paddle that used to have holes in it, and all I remember was the whistling noises. Boom! Dan Sileo, please go to Sister Marjorie Fish's office. That was the chick of discipline. And when you walked in here, I'm going to tell you this. The Rock had smaller guns than what Sister Fish did. And she'd roll them sleeves up, and she'd go like this, hands on the desk. And, not good.
The Jesuits didn't love me too much, Joe. They did. But I love St. Joe's Prep.
Holy cow, did I get my ass slapped around in that thing.
I got some great stories from St. Joe's Prep. Maybe I'll tell them one day.
Absolutely.
Got some great ones.
Let me go. I got to go because our friend Merl Reese is gonna join us. Please hit that like button. Xander, great segment as always.
Great stuff, man. Appreciate everybody in the chat, and even a big shout out to JNNAACPM who did reach out, which is, by the way, why, yes, I did remove him from this, because he was crying that he was going to report Big Sills to the NAACP. I'm like, why? Because he doesn't like Jalen Hurts? What? What a crazy comment.
It's working.
People take it too far, because I'm not going to sit here and allow the platform that we built be slandered by people who don't give a crap about JAKIB. It's bullshit, though. Like, you're going to sit here and think because I tell you can say whatever you want. I mean, you can criticize us. You can call us assholes. If you're going to do something like that, I'm going to take you and remove you. Because this is the platform that we built, that I've invested all of my life savings into.
And he's giving it to me. Hey, wait.
I mean, serious. No, I mean, on a serious note, though. That's why that's why I hate that crap.
Hey, wait, Xander. Okay. Sills has now been turned in to the NAACP for not liking Hurts. This is a new one. Hey, it's one thing to make a mistake by saying something on the air. It's another thing. I want to report him because he doesn't like Hurts as a quarterback for the Eagles. Oh my God.
Right, we got a couple more supers. You're not taking a break. Meryl's going to be in here, and I'm going to have to drop off.
I haven't even sat down. Oh my God, but on to me. Go ahead.
What, you got to take a piss?
No.
Against Cincy,
I can hold that too.
They played against Cincy. They played cover one press man as their second most coverage. Read Greg Cosell. That's pretty good.
Okay.
They did. They have been more aggressive. They have been more aggressive.
Hurts is so great. By the way, I've got to shift gears because my boy's coming up. I can't talk shit on Hurts with Meryl's in the house because he loves him.
All right, let me get out of here. Appreciate it, Sills. You can take a break and we'll get Merl up.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks everybody.
Awesome stuff. All right, dudes. Do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. I'll tell you what we've had here over the last couple days. Michael Irvin was on with us yesterday, and I asked him the question. I go, do you think Jalen Hurts is elite? He goes, yeah. Now, see, I don't know what my guest says. I mean, this is a Dallas Cowboy who a man who we're about to get on witnessed snowballs being thrown at him. He's saying that Jalen Hurts is elite. Angelo Cataldi comes on with us, had a great show on Monday. Eric Allen also, all of them. And here the Eagles sit at 5-2. It's been different than a year ago. And they've been absolutely different since the bye week. Further ado, one of my favorite people we get on the program all the time. He is Merl Reese, golden voice of the Philadelphia Eagles. How are you? Now, what do you make of that, Merl, that a Dallas Cowboy? I asked the question yesterday to Michael Irvin. I go, you think Jalen Hurts is an elite quarterback? He goes, not only is he elite, he's an elite leader. And that's what I see in him. And that's what you've been kind of saying since 2021 about him.
Absolutely. People looked at the beginning of this season and they were down on Jalen Hurts with the interceptions and fumbles. Let me tell you something, Dan. To me, September football is what the preseason used to be. Guys are really getting into form. In the case of the Eagles, you're talking about 2 different coordinators, a new system. There's a lot to work out in September. That's why New Orleans got off to the great start, scoring 40 points a game for 2 weeks. And eyes were open. And then all of a sudden, they returned to form. A lot of things happened. I don't take the September games as barometers. But once you get into this, now for the last 3 weeks, Jalen Hurts has had 0 turnovers. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has 9 interceptions, and we know how great he is. But Jalen Hurts has been careful with the football. He's been accurate. He's had quarterback ratings of over 119 the last 3 weeks. He's elite. And the other thing about him is he's only 26 years old. Don't most of the great quarterbacks, yeah, you get a guy like Mahomes every now and then, but you look at the careers, the great quarterbacks really come into their own at 30 and are really, can carry on for 7, 8. In the case of Brady, forever. Peyton Manning in his 30s, great. Eli, same thing. I mean, quarterbacks are really at their best when they have all that experience behind them. And I think there are too many teams who react quickly. I mean, do you think Cleveland, when they think about it, might like to have Baker Mayfield back?
Absolutely, they would.
Do you think maybe Minnesota might like to, or well, not Minnesota, but the Jets might like to have Sam Darnold back? They get rid of them so fast, and that's a big mistake.
One of my problems, though, all the things that you just mentioned, when you said Mahomes and you said Eli and you said some of these guys, the one thing that all those guys had a common denominator with was that they had a coordinator that was with those guys, and it was one voice in the building.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that has been a little bit of a tougher climb, and it's been made by the Eagles as a tougher climb when you have so many coordinator changes? If you think about it, Merrill, I mean, you've had the first 7 games in 21, you had Nick, then they moved off and they got Shane, then they went to Brian Johnson, and now we're talking about in his 4th year, a 4th coordinator with Kellen Moore. Doesn't that make that process a little bit slower? I'm not saying he won't develop, but doesn't that make that process slower than, say, having Andy Reid with Patrick Mahomes for the last 8 years and one voice in the building?
Sure, and you go back further than that, because Jalen Hurts has had a different quarterback, a different coordinator every year for about 6 years, going back to Alabama and then to Oklahoma, and then coming here with Doug. Yeah, it's been a long process. You never really feel comfortable with that one offense becoming automatic to you. And now he is. Now he's starting to feel very comfortable with Kellen Moore's offense.
Got to say, the guy that I'll get to the defense here in a minute, because that's been impressive over the last couple of weeks, and really for the first 8 weeks, if you look at the whole entire body of work. We'll get there in a minute, but I got to say this to you. Boy, I'll tell you, man, this Grant Calcaterra, every week I watch him, he's becoming a factor on not just the stat sheet, but in critical situations where they need to move the sticks. It's like a third down machine a little bit. 3 catches, 58 yards. I mean, out of a tight end, anytime you can get over 11, 12 yards, a reception out of that position, because that attacks the seam. That attacks the middle of the field. And it's making the middle of the field for Hurts a little bit more open. And I think that's been one of the factors there. Have you been surprised with this kid? Because I thought there was a point, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't there a minute where he contemplated quitting the game because of concussions?
No, there was a minute where he quit the game. He was
okay.
He was at Oklahoma for 3 years or 4 years, and he had so many concussions that he decided that it wasn't worth it to play. And he did retire from football. And then after a couple of years, he missed it so much that he came back and played a year at SMU. And that's where the Eagles drafted him.
How about this? When I watched the game on Sunday against the Bengals, and I noticed one thing, and it's got to be because of one guy. And I think it's because of both guys. One of the things you watch in your new offense here since the break, and Jalen was asked that question the other day about the offense being different, and I think it is different since the bye, has been the single coverage that's been out on the perimeter. I can't believe how many times I said this on Sunday. If you're the Bengals, Merrill, why are you single covering A.J. Brown? And then I realized because they were afraid of the running of Hurts and Barkley in the middle, and that has made that matchup more difficult for teams. And I don't think people look at that enough, because now that they're running the ball and they're number 2 in the NFL at 166.7, running the ball behind only the Baltimore Ravens, I think that's making the passing game more efficient and opening up those lanes for those guys to get single coverage. Do you agree with that?
100%, because when you have a Saquon Barkley, or in the case of Baltimore, when you have a guy like King Henry, Derrick Henry, you've got somebody really, really special. And that takes a lot of pressure off a lot of other people. When you know you have that running game that you can establish. The great backs, when you watch Saquon, and I guess with Henry too, but with Saquon, he can pick up 2 yards, then maybe he'll pick up 3 yards, and maybe he'll pick up 2 or 4 or 5. But at some point, you keep giving him the ball, and he's going to break something for 40 yards on you. He's going to hit that hole, and you're going to be worn out. A great back wears out a defense.
You know, Merrill, you are the perfect person to talk to because you've seen it all here. And I'll make this comment. When you were covering the buddy teams, man, their offensive line. Look, I love Ron Heller. He's a former teammate of mine. I love Dave Remington. I love Anderson, Dave. I love all them guys. Okay, Alexander. I love all them guys. The guys are great players. They're really good, but nothing like I'm watching right now. This Fred Johnson guy. So he plays in the first half against Brian Burns, and he gets kind of thrown around. But in the second half, he settles down, and they run the ball for 260 or 270. You're like, well, he couldn't have been that bad. They ran him off the scoreboard. And last week against Trey Hendrickson, he shut him out. I got to say this to you. This Jeff Stoutland, we had him at Miami as an offensive line coach. I got to tell you, I think he's the best assistant coach you have had in that building since Jim Johnson. He is the Jim Johnson of that side of the ball because the guys that now he's getting Becton back, and he's going to get Mulata back in a couple weeks. It's going to be like signing free agents. The depth you have at this O-line, I've never seen anything like it. Was it like this with Howard Mudd too?
No. I think the best in all these years, the best offensive lineman I've ever been around, offensive line coach is Stout. He's the best. The players really, really respond to him. He is, when you talk about Fred Johnson, and he came over here burned by the Bengals. It was the luckiest day of his life because he met Stout. And Stout can make a fair, marginal offensive lineman good, and he can make a good offensive lineman great. That's the effect that he has. He's patient. He's smart. He's motivating. He's just one of the great coaches I've ever met. And I'm lucky that the Eagles are lucky that nobody has enticed him to come someplace as a head coach, because I know there's a difference between a coordinator and a position coach and a head coach. But this is a man who is so in charge and has that aura, who, if he were hired as a head coach, and I don't think he wants to be,
he doesn't.
If he were hired as a head coach, he'd be a winner because he's that kind of talent and that kind of communicator.
When he was at Miami and he was the interim head coach, he had told everybody in the building, I'm not going to ever coach as a head guy at the college or pro level, because if I'm not mistaken, I think he went to Bama after that, and he took over for Mario Cristobal I think he went there before Mario, and he became the offensive line coach at Alabama. Then Chip brought him up to the Eagles, and
That's
when he was
the best thing that Chip ever did.
Yeah, besides the Slurpee machine, that's probably the best thing that the guys ever did is put Lane too, because he did end up. But then again, that was Stoutland.
I'm not a Chip guy.
Yeah, but I totally get that there.
Drafted Lane, and then with the first pick in the second round, he drafted Zach Ertz. And then, but there was a linebacker he would have taken above Lane, and he ended up as a bust. He was the first 4 pick, the linebacker that year, who Chip really wanted. But I'm not taking that away from him. He still did draft Lane Johnson and Zach Ertz. He did cut Jordan Poyer, who's still in the league, but he did bring in Jeff Stoutland and some very, very good coaches. I will give him credit for that.
Let me go over here and go to the defensive side. Or let me ask you first off in this one, who have you been more impressed with in the first 8 weeks of the season, Kellen Moore or Vic Fangio?
Both. Really, it's not a cop-out. Both know what they're doing. Both communicate well with their charges, and both have patience, and neither one panics. They're both very, very bright. Kellen's a lot younger. Vic's been through the wars for years, but they both are settled, experienced, qualified coordinators who know exactly what they're doing. You look at this defense. People were saying, boy, they missed on a lot of players. And the Kobe Dean, he was a 3rd round pick, and now we know why.
I'm one of those guys.
The Kobe Dean's making a play. And then they bring in a free agent who never played inside linebacker before, and Zach Bond. What a player he is. And then people were saying they were using the B word, bust, to describe Nolan Smith. All of a sudden, he's awakened, and he's had a sack in each of the last 3 games. It takes time, Dan. It takes patience. and it takes a coach who can see that it takes time for these guys to develop. And when they asked Vic about bringing out Cooper DeJean, how did you know he was going to be good? Vic said, I didn't.
I did.
I had to wait and see him play. And but he and he'll say he's getting better, And he said all along, he said Nolan Smith can play. He said, but he needs time. And these guys know what they're doing. And they infuse that confidence in the player, and then the player reacts. But both of them, both of them are terrific.
Quinyon Mitchell, best talent at cornerback you've seen since Lito Shepherd? That you drafted.
Yeah. One of the best I've ever seen come in as a rookie. The other goes way before you, and his nickname was the Silent Storm under Dick Vermeil, and he came from Alcorn A&M, and I don't know if you remember the name Roynell Young.
Oh my God, what a great player!
So you're talking Roynell Young, and then Buddy took one in the second round out of Arizona. His name was Eric Allen, and boy, was Arizona State, and boy, was he great. So you're talking about great talents, but they didn't miss on either of these two, Quinyon Mitchell or Cooper DeJean. They're unwrap them and let them go.
I'll tell you this about Quinyon that Eric Allen said on the show last week. He said it's tougher to play corner today because of the rules. Back then, you could chuck them, down the field a little bit. Then they came up with the 5-yard rule, and you could be more physical, and it was a more physical corner position to play. Nowadays, he said, man, I don't know if I could play in today's NFL because of the spacing. And when you see a guy like Quinyon Mitchell lining up against Jamar Chase, I mean, if you look at the numbers that he's been lining up against some of the premier guys, I mean, the number one thing that I take away, they're not going back to him and they're not challenging him once they find and see him, which to me, when you have a fish on the hook, you go back and you try to go to that same part of the pond, but that's not what you're doing with this kid.
The only fault I'll find with what Eric told you is that he's unduly modest, because Eric Allen is one of the great cornerbacks in the history of this game and absolutely positively belongs in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he was a 6-time Pro Bowler. He could play in any NFL.
Absolutely. Plus the 52 interceptions. I told him last week we were going to do everything in our power with all of our friends, with trying to get him into the Hall of Fame. There's a special ceremony going on this weekend. I'm going to throw these names at you here. Brian Westbrook, Wilbur Montgomery, Keith Byers, Shady McCoy. Who's the best back you've covered in your time covering the Eagles?
Well, in deference to the other guys who were great, and Wilbur was a great back.
You put Ricky Waters in there too.
Yeah, you can put Ricky Waters in there, although he wasn't here long enough. He had some great games. He was not as great a teammate as these guys. But I think if you look, all you have to do is pick up this book that I'm going to show you. You pick up this book and you look under the records, and Shady has them all. Shady has almost every record. Most yards in a game, most yards in a season, most touchdowns in a season. I mean, you go on and on and on, and they're all Shady's. So when in doubt, just look at the records, and he has them all. But that doesn't mean that Brian Westbrook wasn't great, because he was, and he was a great punt returner too. And it doesn't mean that Wilbert wasn't great also. The other thing is that Shady was a little bit more durable. I think you'll find that the other guys, Brian had some rib injuries and several concussions, and Wilbert Montgomery had some injuries along the way. Shady was practically indestructible. The thing that hurt Ricky Waters came very early in his stay with the Eagles, when he came across the middle and showed some alligator arms. And when they asked him about that, he
The alligator arms.
No,
Okay.
that's that for who, for what? People still use that expression about Ricky saying why he didn't go after that.
Merrill, you and I are the same. You're not.
Ooh,
I'm not calling
I can't
anybody.
hear you for some reason.
You there? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? No? Huh. Okay.
Can we get this back?
Can you hear me? There we go. Let's see. Hopefully we can get you back there. Merrill, can you hear? Okay. All right. Let's see if we can do this again here. Hopefully Merrill can come back with us here. Let's see if we can get him back to close it up here and see if we can. Interesting. If I had to pick a 4-quarter football game and a 60-minute football game, and I had to pick one of those backs, I'd probably pick Brian Westbrook. Dude, I know Shady's great. I know he's going into the Eagle Hall of Fame. Let's see if we can get Merrill. Merrill, you got me?
Let's see.
Merrill, you got me.
Why can't I hear you?
I can't. I don't think Merrill's got us. Yeah. Can't hear me. Bob Langus strikes. There you go. Well, Joe. Hey, let's see if we could try. Let's try it one more time, Xander. See if we can. Let's see if he comes back one last time. I love this for Merrill. He's the best. I love Merrill too, man. Wanted to close up the shop here. Hopefully we can. If we can't, it's all good. Great to see Shady go into the Eagle Hall of Fame. I mean, Merrill is the best. Absolutely. Yeah. Bob Lang strikes again. Yeah. Byers had the best hands I've ever seen for a running back. Ronald, I'll say this to you about a guy like Keith Byers. Keith Byers was before his time. He was like Alvin Kamara. Okay, let's try it one more time here and see if we – Merrill, you got me? Nope. I don't believe you got me. Merrill. No? I don't believe. Xander, just tell him. Just communicate with him and tell him that we'll shut it down here and tell him we thank him very much. We apologize there. So, all right, let me do this here. If he happens to pop on prior to this here, hey, don't forget, folks, our great friends at BetUS. If you're looking for a betting place like tonight's game, make sure you hook up with our friends at BetUS. Got a great partnership going on with our friends at BetUS, and right now you could sign up with the YouTube 150 for up to $2K when it comes to the sign-up bonus. Also, second, 125% of your 2K up sign-up bonus, and also your third at 125% sign-up bonuses up to 2K. Crypto bonuses also 200%. There with your signing bonuses, fastest payouts in the business, 24/7 personalized service. That's betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Do me a favor. Make sure you tell them Big Sills sent you. Let's see if we can try to see if we can close the shop up here on Merl Reese here. We'll try it one last time. And I don't believe we're going to do it there. All right. Xander, we're going to shut it down here. Wait, let's try it again. Try one more. Hey, are you there? There we go.
Huh.
Can't do it.
Wait a minute. Let's try this one more time.
All right. One more time here. Merrill, you there? Oh, man. I love live broadcasting. Yeah. The only reason I'm hooking and staying in this thing here is because it is Merl Reese. It's because if it was Michael Irvin, so Merrill slander is not tolerated. My man is working over there to figure it out. Absolutely. No Merl Reese slander. Absolutely not. Okay. No, it's Bob Lang. All right. Hey, Xander, just send him a message and thank him very much for coming aboard with us. We'll reset at the top of the hour here. Please hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Big Sales National Football Show. We so appreciate everyone coming aboard. Please hit the like button. You know, we always want to tie it up with our friend Merl Reese, and we weren't able to say goodbye, so I want to see if we could possibly get them.
I'm here again. Can you hear
There
me?
we go. Fantastic. I got you now, Merl.
You disappeared.
I did disappear. We had to pay some bills here, and I appreciate you doing this. Hey, just a couple last ones here for you, but thank you so much for coming back here. You and I are on the same page with this. Nobody is a Super Bowl contender in October. You're a Super Bowl contender in January. But what you're seeing so far, what is the one concern you have as you're sitting at 5-2? I don't really think there's a dominant team in the NFL. I think any team can beat anybody on any given Sunday, as they say. But like you and me, Merrill, this is the war of attrition. Look at Detroit. They lose Aiden Hutchinson. They may have to make a move to try to get an edge rusher. In your opinion, how is this team trending? Can they be a factor, in your opinion, in the playoffs if they're trending the way they're going?
Yes. Vic Fangio was asked this week, are you advocating for Howie to make any trades? Is this something you want? And Vic said no, just like that. No. But you can always do something. And Howie, as you know, Howie Roseman is out there looking for any upgrade he can possibly make. And sometimes it worked. It worked in the Super Bowl year at the trade deadline. If you remember, he picked up Jay Ajayi, who turned out to be a big factor in that run for the Super Bowl. So that was big. Other times, it doesn't work. Last year, they picked up a couple of players who really didn't pan out. So sometimes it does, and sometimes Robert Quinn last year, he was not really a nice man, gave it his all, but not a big factor. So, but Howie will try to find somebody out there. I would think you could always use another edge rusher. You could always put Dallas Goedert out for how long that we don't know. I mean, they're getting great football from Grant Calcaterra, as you pointed out, but you could always use another tight end. But if they're out there, Howie will find them.
Do you have a problem with Dotson not being a factor so far in the passing game? I know that they're coming up with comments, and both Jalen Hurts and the head coach and the coordinator have said that, he's doing a really nice job in the blocking game. But again, a third-round draft choice was surrendered for him. We're not talking about chump change here. That's an equity pick, a third rounder. It's not like a fifth or sixth here. Do you think that could be a key also moving forward here also in spreading out the ball more?
Well, yeah, yes and no. But when you have A.J. Brown and you have Devontae Smith, and you mentioned Calcaterra or Dallas Goedert, it's hard to look for another guy. But I am a Jahan Dotson fan because I love Penn State football. And I know that he's got speed, he's got hands, he's got tracking ability. And at some point, he's just going to break loose on a fly pattern, and you're going to find Jalen hitting him in stride. It'll happen.
You're a Penn State guy, huh?
I'm a Temple grad.
I know, but you like Penn State?
Football fan.
I got to tell you a story real quick here about Joe Paterno. And we got beat in national championship game. My Miami team did 14-10 when they won the national championship. I had a hell of a game in that, and me and Jerome Brown killed that team. I mean, they had like 5 first downs in the game. We were just dominating them, and we got beat. It was my birthday the next day. I told a lot of folks in here this, but here's a Penn State. I know Mike Missinelli too. He's a Penn State guy, and I told Mike the story. So I'm sitting in the airport. I'm flying back to New York, and here comes Joe Paterno. He looks like my Uncle Bucky, short little Italian guy. He comes walking right up to me, recruited me, and he put his hand on my shoulder, and he goes, "You two guys are the best defensive tackles I've seen since Millen and Clark." I looked at him and I said, "Coach, that's really nice of you, man." And I knew who Millen and Clark were, obviously, salt and pepper and all that, and I get it. And he goes, "No." He goes like this. He goes, "And I wish you had come to Penn State." He goes, "Why didn't you come to Penn State?" And I went like this, "Because you didn't have your name on the back of the jersey and you wear black shoes. That's not for me." He started laughing. And so he was so great to me. And I'm not talking about the other. I'm talking about when he came and recruited me too. He came to my high school and he recruited me. My folks met him and such and all. I was a big Joe Paterno fan. And I have always had great respect for Penn State. Maybe not that night I didn't, but I mean, I had always had great respect. And I see why a lot of those players that come out of that program, especially with Joe Pa, those guys are all, and many of them are my dear friends like Shane Collin and those guys and Steve Wisniewski.
Well, I'll tell you what, the latest Penn State factor, Saquon Barkley, is just number one, he's a great player. But number two, he is one of the nicest, most humble individuals. He's a great locker room guy. Everybody loves him.
When I said this about him, I never in a million years thought that he was the second pick in the draft. And now I see, I made this point. If Saquon Barkley had played his entire career in Philly, he'd be on his way to Canton.
Yeah.
Because of all the talent that he has. And it just shows you how New York did not build a team around him. Because I'm telling you, of all the surprises this year, I mean, Merrill, even you have to be somewhat surprised on his dominance. It's not that he's having a good year. He's having a dominant year. The only other guy to have a more dominant year right now is Henry, and he's on pace for 2,200 rushing yards.
Yeah, you're right. But here's what I thought. I was happy when they picked him up. I said, he's a great back. But he's probably, he's had several injuries that took him out.
Injuries.
He's probably not as fast as he was when he came out of Penn State. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He hasn't lost a thing. He is an elite back. He's just everything you could have hoped for and more.
Last question for you here, Merrill. You do agree, and it was like Jalen kind of asked the question yesterday when he was addressed it, when he was there at the press conference there. when a reporter goes like this to him, he goes, so what do you make of the offense being different since the bye? And to me, Merrill, if you look at the first 4 weeks going into the bye, they were averaging around 30 passes, around that number, 31, 32 passes. In the last 3 weeks, they've had 26, 14, and 20. And what I mean by that is less is more. And so it reminds me more of 22 a little bit, because Hurts is running the ball more. The passing lanes are opening more because of both him and Barkley dominating the running game. And do you think that Barkley has kind of forced the hand that the offense is going to run through AJ, not the quarterback in this conversation, but AJ and Barkley? Because that football team reminds me a lot of 22. Prior to the bye, it reminded me more of 23. Is that a fair assessment? Because they're back to dominating and inflicting their will at the point of attack again, like they have the last 3 weeks.
Well, they have multiple weapons, because as great as AJ is, 2 weeks ago, Devontae Smith had 1 reception for -2 yards. And then last week, he went wild with a magnificent catch of a ball that traveled almost 60 yards in the air. So this team has multiple weapons. They have a lot of ways they can go. But at the moment, their identity seems to be a run-first offense. And when you have these kind of wide receivers, it's only going to make them better.
Merrill, what do you feel about the fact that potentially if they blow out the Jaguars, Doug Peterson could be fired on Sunday?
I don't have any comment on that. I hope that's not the case. I mean, I certainly would like to see the Eagles win this game. But I also believe, and I believe this very, very strongly, that Doug Peterson is an excellent coach. He's a character guy. He's a wonderful person. He's a credit to the game. And whatever problems the Jaguars are suffering are not because of their coach. They have the right coach. Sometimes you have to look at that roster and say, it's depleted. They lost Christian Kirk last week. They've lost this one. They just went into the seller's market and dealt their left tackle. These are not the faults of Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson is an outstanding coach. And if they were smart, they would let him get through this year and give him the right kind of personnel and go as far as they can. But it's not the coach. He's a great.
No doubt. It's the Jags. I mean, let's be candid. Tom Coughlin, and then who? I mean, let's be real here with that. How do you think he'll be received on Sunday by the fans?
Warmly. Everybody loves him. He doesn't have an enemy in the world. He's just, Philadelphia will remember him forever for being the coach who won the 1 Lombardi trophy, and they'll remember him forever for Philly. He and Nick Foles will be forever joined as they are in a statue outside the link.
It's the greatest play call I've ever seen in a Super Bowl, next to Stram's call when he called that one play against the Vikings. That was the greatest. I say this before I even covered the Eagles. When he had it, and I pointed this out to you, he's there talking to Frank in the booth, and they're all going here, and that quarterback walks over and goes, Philly, and he goes, yeah. And I'm like, holy cow, you talk about brass cojones. That's brass cojones.
Yeah, well, I have to tell you, Mike.
Oh, man, not again. I wish we could finish that up because I'd like to have heard that. Absolutely. Oh, my God. That to me was one of the greatest play calls in the history of the National Football League Super Bowl. That was just such a great play call, man. When that guy, and again, like I said to you guys, this was even before.
So let's saw with the greatest result.
Hey, Merrill, could you repeat it? Because you went out. Yeah, but can you repeat it again, please? Oh, you can't? Hey, Merrill, goodbye, man. I'll see you later. It's all good, Merrill. That's our good friend, Merl Reese. We'll get that story the next time from our friend, Merl Reese. Tell him to start over. I know, Senor, that's a great tease for the next time we get him on next week. We'll get him on next week so he could tell that story. Look at always. Yeah. All right. By the way, Abe, we are going to go And we are going to do your segment in this hour here. Our grades, okay, for the Bengal game. We're going to do that here in a second. We just mentioned Doug Peterson potentially getting canned. He didn't want to answer any of that. Here are the coaches that I have on the hot seat that could be fired. Jets are already going to be in need of a coach, but I'm already seeing at least 8 to 9 jobs open. I'm going to keep Serani on this list. Mike McCarthy, Dallas Cowboys, I think will be fired. Antonio Pierce, Raiders, I think will be fired. Doug Peterson, Jacksonville, I think will be fired. Dennis Allen, New Orleans Saints, I think will be fired. Nick Sirianni, Philadelphia, I'm not sure yet. Brian Daboll, Giants, I think will be fired. Jets will need a job. Kevin Stefanski, Cleveland, I think has a chance on being canned. And by the way, the head coach of Carolina, you could never underestimate David Tepper. Look at Abe, Zach Taylor. You might have 10 head coaches canned by Black Monday after the last regular season game. I'll tell you what, man. If Kellen Moore gets a job, how about this one? Hey, guys, if Kellen Moore gets the job, would you hire Doug Peterson as an offensive coordinator? Would you hire Doug? You think the Eagles would go down? I don't think they hate him. But wait a minute. I don't think Doug's going to get another head coaching job. Not anytime soon. Doesn't that kind of give you a fail-safe? If Kellen takes this team to an NFC championship, he's going to get an opportunity to be a head coach somewhere. Would you hire Doug Peterson as a coordinator? That's a great take by Yale. How come it ain't working with Trevor Lawrence? Xander, in the box, would you hire Doug? I could see Kellen going to the Saints. I could see Kellen going to the Bengals or the Cowboys. Would you hire Doug Peterson? If he gets fired and Kelly gets an opportunity, Jalen knows him, Jalen respects him, Jalen likes him, organization likes him. Why would he take the job? Well, he helped win a Super Bowl here. He likes the franchise. He helped Nick in transition to being the head football coach. Obviously, there's no animosity with the front office and him. What coach does that? I would never do that. Plus, he would get paid. Steve goes, I want Doug back as head coach. Okay, well, let's play the other one then. What if the guy wobbles in the postseason and you get knocked out in the first round? Would you hire Doug back? Would you hire Doug back? Or would that be too much animosity between Howie and him? Would the owner do that? Too much. I probably Senor's right. He's a good coach, man. Jacksonville sucks. Jacksonville sucks. I think this is more it, little Howie won't want Doug wanting to make his own demands. Yeah, but wait a minute, Senor. After getting fired from Jacksonville, I don't know how much autonomy you have. I know you won a Super Bowl, but your latest job, you didn't do a job where you turned a quarterback around. You think you really have that say? You might get Doug Peterson in a moment where he hasn't built that equity up like he did in Philly when he left. Hey, you could push Howie around when you win a Super Bowl. When you get fired in your last job, that Super Bowl's long in the past. You think Mike McCarthy has equity right now? Mike McCarthy has no equity right now in Dallas. This guy's on the firing seat. This guy won that Super Bowl years ago. That's not helping him out in Dallas. That's not helping him. Should have made Steichen head coach back then. Yeah, but here's the funny thing. Every quarterback that guy has with dual threat, that guy gets him killed. Anthony Richardson has been injured every single year that he's played there. And the last year that Steichen was in Philadelphia, Jalen got hurt. Laurie not going back down that road. Probably true. They're both hiring him as head coach. Doug wants control that the Eagles ain't giving him. Probably so. Boy, I like him as a coach, though, man. Shows I'd rather have Frank Reich personally. Frank's a great offensive coordinator. Do the Eagles believe Dougie P was responsible or Howie? I think they believe that I think they believe that the front office built the team to win the Super Bowl, and that's how they won it. I don't believe they think Doug did it. But now they're finding out. I don't think you have a Super Bowl coach. You do not have a Super Bowl champion coach. Okay? Lovie Smith got to a Super Bowl. Okay? Give me John Gruden's emails. Absolutely not. All right. So this is Abe. They got a statue of him too, man. Lurie is far too liberal to hire Gruden. Probably so. It's a shame. John Gruden would be a perfect hire. He'd be a perfect hire. And like I told people, if the emails didn't exist, he'd be making $20 million a year right now. John Gruden would be one of the most demanded coaches in all of football. And I hope, just like Eric Allen said, just like Warren Sapp and everybody says, they hope they get him another chance to be a head coach. NFL seems to be forgiving. Why not Gruden? Gruden's not coming here or anywhere else. I think it's a shame. Seals, what do you think about Parsons and Diggs saying Dak is not a top 10 quarterback? Is not a top 10 quarterback. Can a team stay together with that division? Did he really say that? Parson and Diggs said that Dak Prescott's not a top 10 quarterback. Wow. What a shitty bunch of teammates. Holy shit. Even if you believe it, you don't say it publicly. Did they really say that? If you're the Eagle fans, you're happy that they said that. Okay? Yeah, but Yale, the point is you don't say it publicly if you're a teammate. You know what I mean? Oh, Mike, I don't want anything to do with Micah Parsons. I don't. John McMullen swears that he's the next Lawrence Taylor. I don't see dude. I don't see anything remotely close to anything like that. I don't think he's like, dude, I don't see him. John Gruden has been in Philly before. Correct, the offensive coordinator. Absolutely. Gruden stinks? Really? That's not true. Sirianni stinks. No need to beat Dallas's fan base down. They do it to themselves. Yeah, no. Hey, Charlie. Micah Parsons has got outside interest. You know what I mean? He's a celebrity now. He's a big celebrity. By the way, guys, please do me a favor. Hit the like button. We appreciate you guys doing this. All right. Our weekly grades. We do this every Thursday. And what the Eagles did this past week against the Bengals as they get ready for the Jags. Want to start defense or offense first? How I think these guys played this past week. Seals, to be honest, sometimes McMullen's takes are ridiculous. So are mine. Not Xander's. Yeah. Absolutely trash teammate, Seals. No doubt about it. I can't stand that guy. I would cringe as a Dallas fan. I have to see Parsons' podcast. I love it as an Eagle. You should. You should be rooting that guy on. Thank you very much, John Sills. What would Dak or Jones look like in 23 Eagles offense with Brian Johnson and AJ and Devontae? What would Dak or Jones? Jones who? In the 23 offense with Brian Johnson. Well, wait a minute, John. All your wide receivers had career years. Hurts had high turnovers. Those guys didn't play poor, and you won 11 games, and your offense was ranked 8th. Are you under the impression that the coordinator had a bad year? The quarterback did. Wasn't the coordinator. The quarterback did. And by the way, that same coordinator is now the passing coordinator in Washington. They're going for their 7th straight win. And look at the job he's doing there with Cliff Kingsbury, with Jaden Daniels. You think Brian Johnson sucks? I don't. I don't. I don't think he sucks. Is Gruden a quarterback whisperer, would you say? No. He runs very complex offenses. That's why it'd be veterans. You can't really name a rookie quarterback that he's ever had where, he had a rookie in the building. Okay? He's good. Let's see here. So Dak would have been great. Probably. I think Dak would have been great in that offense last year. Yeah, Desai's doing great too in Los Angeles. Defense starting to come around in LA. Those coaches are good coaches. They just needed a whipping stick, and they found 2 of them, Sean Desai and Brian Johnson. They're not bad coaches. They were immediately hired, and both the teams that they're on right now are doing well or have a shot to make the playoffs. Okay? Especially, hey, Brian Johnson's going to get another shot. If Jaden Daniels wins the Rookie of the Year, and he wins the Rookie of the Year, Cliff Kingsbury's probably going to get another opportunity to be a head football coach somewhere. I guarantee you he names Brian Johnson offensive coordinator, and they work together wherever they go. I guarantee they do that. Hey, I could see Cliff Kingsbury being the next head football coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Brian going down there and coaching Trevor Lawrence. I could see them hiring Cliff Kingsbury. Something like Trevor Lawrence. You want to do a reclamation project. That they would send that down there. All right. By the way, all super chats go to the top. We appreciate you guys. Jacksonville's cursed, it seems. Dak is a sofa king. Eduardo, that's funny, man. All right. This is how I saw how these guys played this past week. Let me start with the defense. I think Milton is having a solid season. Is he having a year that I'd be interested in giving that guy a contract extension? Yes. But if I were Milton Williams, I would not want to stay in Philly. I'd want to test the market and see in what team would be a contender and what team would give me more. I think he probably had this past week, probably a C-plus game. But if I were the Eagles, would I offer him a contract? How much money would I give Milton Williams at the end of this year? I'd offer Milton Williams $10 million. I think in the open market, I think Milton Williams could probably get $14 million. Now, is that $4 million worth leaving Philly to go to a place? Because let's be candid here. Clint Hurts not going to be in the building next year. Clint Hurts not going to be his D-line coach. Clint Hurt will be a coordinator somewhere. So the coordinator will be gone. Or the D-line coach will be gone. You'll have to get a new D-line coach. He'll have to reprove himself again. Do you take the $10 million and stay in Philly? Or do you go out and you chase the additional $4 million that you could get somewhere like New York, Giants, Bucks? He has options. I think he's played really good the first 8 weeks. Jordan Davis. I think Jordan Davis plays C- football. 20 snaps. He's a non-factor. He throws up goose eggs. He's not played well for 8 weeks. He actually, if you think about it, he has not, and I know John McMullen tells Xander this all the time, he's misunderstood. Well, he hasn't played well for 8 weeks, and he hasn't played well for 18 weeks. Going back 10 weeks last year. This guy hasn't had a decent football game. And, New Orleans, I thought he was decent. I thought he was good in New Orleans. But he's playing C- football. Jalen Carter. I'll do the game, not the 8 weeks. I think Jalen Carter has played B- football against the Jags or against the Bengals. B- football. I think he shows up. I think he's taking the doubles on. I think he's played really well. B- is good. It's not a bad grade. I think he's probably played somewhere in there, which means that he has more room for potential. Okay? I think he's been trending the last 3 weeks in a good, positive direction. So don't take that as a slap in the face. Brandon Graham. I'm going to give Brandon Graham last week a B. He's creating pressure, leadership. He's really good. And I would really do this with him. I'd offer him a contract to come back and play next year. I really would. I'd ask him if he wants to come back. He'll probably get this. You know what'll be really cool is that you offer Brandon Graham a contract in the year he's thinking about going out on his own terms. He's probably going to pull a Fletcher Cox and retire, knowing he has something still left in the tank. You don't want to leave the game when you have nothing left. You want to leave the game having just a tad bit left, and that would be quite an accomplishment. Hey, we'd love to have you back for another season. Here's $10 million. Okay? Here's $10 million. I think he's played B football. I really like the guy. Zach Bond. He's probably the free agent sign on the defense of the year. Boy, he's getting better and better. He's getting better and better. He still struggles a little bit in pass coverage, but he's getting better and better. I thought he played really well against the Bengals. I'd give him, for the Bengals, I'd give him a B. I thought he played really well. Nakobe Dean. This kills me. Because I'll say this to you, and it kills me, and I mean this in a way, me, not the player. Nakobe Dean is rapidly improving. That's why I'm hedging, because he's rapidly improving. I see something. I thought he played a really solid B game against the Bengals. He's rapidly improving. Still in space problems. Okay. Now, is that more reps? Probably. One thing he can do that I think they're finding out, he can rush the passer. Sills, you order your Dean jersey yet? That ain't happening. He's had too much shitty ball for me to buy any jersey. Yell's right. He just needs to be more consistent because he's not right now. Correct. That's correct. But he's rapidly improving. Maybe the most consistent guy. Maybe the most consistent guy all year has been Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat's played great ball, man. I'm giving him a B, especially against the Bengals. He played exceptionally well. Quinyon Mitchell. What would you give him for that game against Cincinnati? What grade would you give him for Cincinnati? C plus? Not an A. Dude, you can get a C and be a young, great-looking player. B minus? A plus is so stupid. There's not a DB in the NFL playing A plus ball right now. It's not an A plus position. There's no quarterback playing A plus, but you got Quinyon Mitchell playing A plus football. You can't be dumber. He's an A. How ridiculous. I say this to you. I'm going to give him a B minus. And I think that's great for a rookie who's only played 8 weeks of football. If you're going to tell me that Jaden Daniels needs more footballs, so does this guy. I heard Xander and everybody going, are you really going to be that high on Jaden Daniels? Or are you really going to be that high after 8 weeks on Quinyon Mitchell? Goes both ways at every position. So you got to kind of temper things like this a little bit. He's played 8 NFL football games. 8 NFL games. And I think he's played probably a B minus, somewhere there. Okay? Somewhere there. Zeal goes Sills. What do you think Jaden Daniels has played? Probably B. Somewhere in there. 8 weeks. B minus football. Something like that. Yeah. He's not played A ball. He's made a ton of mistakes. Let's see here. Reed Blankenship. Reed Blankenship, to me, he is a solid C-plus player, and he's a C-plus player every week. He may deviate up a little bit and down, but he is a solid player. Would we not agree with that? Reed Blankenship is a solid player. And you have to have guys on your football team like him. Not going to make a ton of money, but he's a solid football player. Okay? He's a good football player, man. I mean, you know what I mean? He's a good player. I don't think he's special. I don't think he sucks. I think he's special. I think he's getting a little better with more reps. That's not the question. You think he's played A ball for a rookie. I'm talking about a freaking kid playing in a system right now, NFL football for the first 8 weeks. I'm not talking about a rookie. That's a different conversation. I think the grade I gave him is high. First 8 games of the year, you're getting a B minus in there, going against the top elite guys in the game with that much more room for improvement. Sit back and relax. It's still a small sample size. Gardner Johnson has played C- football for you. And the interception that he had was a gift. So I don't think that interception has not changed my narrative at all on him. I think he's had a poor season. And I think I'm being generous at C-. I think absolutely Blankenship has outplayed him. And I personally think without a doubt that Gardner Johnson has not played well at all this year. And I think as soon as Sidney Brown gets more opportunity, they're going to try to put his ass in there and see if they can replace him with it. Here's where we're going to have an interesting one because Xander C. Slay as a important part of the equation to potentially be a Super Bowl contender. I'm not dismissing that, but I don't believe that player is going to play consistent enough because he won't be in the lineup. You're seeing old man injuries now. He's constantly in and out. He's fighting nagging injuries like hamstrings or knees or backs, and he's in and out of every game. And it's only been 7 weeks? Is that guy going to go another 10 weeks, 11 weeks of football? And you think that guy's going to be standing up in January? I don't believe that. I think you're seeing him every week being pulled out of games more and more because of his body breakdown. Now, some would go like this, Silsey hasn't played poorly. That's not what I'm saying here. And personally, I don't really look at him and go, well, that guy's really played great ball. I think anybody in that system that Vic has right now playing center field can play that position. What is he really doing? He sits 10 yards, 15 yards off the ball. If you don't let anybody get behind you, you keep everything in front of you. Now, does he have more experience than Isaiah Rodgers? No question. But is he going to be able to have a defense being and a game plan being built around a guy who's going to start missing plays? And I'm not saying he's going to start. He already is missing plays. I need that guy. Hey, what if you're taking on Lamar Jackson coming up in a couple weeks here? You know, you could make the argument about Lamar Jackson and say this. Over the last 5 years, Lamar Jackson's been the best quarterback in the game. 2 MVP awards, all the winning. I get the postseason, not saying it. Hey, guess what? He runs into Mahomes. Okay, I get it. He runs into Mahomes, sure. Or Burrow, or any of the, okay, I get it. But you can make, this guy's going to win his 3rd MVP award. You could actually make the argument how great he's played. And we're not talking postseason right now. We're talking today. Regular season right now. That guy's played great football. Okay? I think Darius Slay going in and out of the lineup, I'd probably say he's a B-. I say that. I think he's had a B- year. Okay, but again, my issues are with him are going to be whether or not he's going to make the year. What's their plan? Because they got to start getting Isaiah Rodgers, and I think that's what they're starting to do. Is starting to get Isaiah Rodgers. Because look at this here, man. Don't you think that they envision this? Isaiah Rodgers at right corner, Mitchell, or maybe Quinyon Mitchell at right corner, Isaiah at the left corner, cornerback 2, Sidney Brown for Gardner Johnson, and Reed Blankenship, and then Cooper DeJean in your slot. So how about this? Here's your secondary. What I think they're trying to think of: Isaiah Rodgers, Sidney Brown, Reed Blankenship, and Quinyon Mitchell. That's quite a young group. That's kind of what they're doing. And Cooper DeJean. That's kind of what they're doing in Kansas City. If they built that, my conversation about Howie building that, if that ends up being your future, let me tell you something, man. That's a pretty good-looking future, and we would have to reevaluate that, because that would mean that there's no question about it that you've done some good things back there in the secondary, and you've done them in the draft. Keely Ringo in that conversation, where does he fit in? I want to see more of him. I heard Vic talking about him the other day. I want to hear more about him. The defense, clearly. Nolan Smith, I would give him a B-. I'd give him a B-. I think that's a great grade for a guy who was non-existent. I'd give him that. Let's go to the offense now. Let's start at right tackle and go to the quarterback, the last one. Lane Johnson. Lane's had a great year, being nicked up a little bit. Lane Johnson, strong B+. He is a really good football player. He is, if I were to say this to you, putting all the Hall of Fame guys together and how I look at Hall of Fame players, Lane Johnson will be a third ballot. Third or fourth ballot Hall of Famer. Right guard. Tyler Steen gets a B+. I thought he played exceptional football in that Bengal game. No sacks. Run game was great. He played exceptional. Cam Jurgens. Remember I told you guys, remember I said Cam Jurgens is going to make the Pro Bowl? I think Cam Jurgens, okay? I think Cam Jurgens, is going to make the Pro Bowl. He's having a really great year. I would give him a B. Landon Dickerson. Landon's a little banged up too. Injuries. B. Dickerson's turning out to be. Hey, Xander, was Dickerson this good when he was at Alabama? Hey, and by the way, Xander, was Dickerson the guy that blew his knee out and Saban put him in the national title game? Is that the player they did that for? There was a guy that was hurt at Alabama, and Saban put him in. I think it was the last national title game that Nick won. Was that the guy that he did that for? That he got banged up or hurt, and he totally blew his knee out, and Nick put him in, getting him ready for the national title. Or that was the very end of the national title. Was that the guy that did that? That shows you the respect that Nick Saban had for the kid. That was him? Okay. That's absolutely fantastic. I think he's turning out to be an absolutely special player. Dude, he's a great-looking football player. He's a B-plus guy. Dude, I'm going to give Fred Johnson. Fred Johnson pitched a shutout against Trey Hendrickson. That guy gets an A. Dude, both your tackles. Look at what you've done here. So you're going to get – dude, Trevor Keegan's coming. So look at what you have here on your football team. Becton's coming back this week. Lane's in the building. Cam, Landon, Fred, Mulata's coming back. Keegan. Shit. The depth level you have in the offensive line is sick. What a great group of talented football players you have. Absolutely insane what you have there at that. Dotson, incomplete. I don't even know what he's doing on the field. He makes no impact whatsoever on the field. It's a wasted position. I mean, I don't know what he's doing. Devontae Smith, B+. Just a great football player. Great attitude. Great in every aspect of what he's done. And I couldn't have been more wrong about him. His durability, stupid great. Just really a fantastic football player. Devontae or A.J. Brown, A-. So good. Reminds me of T.O., Irvin, guys like that. Physical wide receivers. He reminds me of an old DeAndre Hopkins, actually, too. Great on third down. Jump balls. Shit. Very difficult to defend. That guy is so difficult to defend. Love. AJ's really playing great. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it, brother. Barkley, A. Absolutely sensational. By the way, let me take a look at something here. There's a shot that Kenny Gainwell might end up with 450 yards rushing this year, backing up a guy who's on pace for 1,800 yards. Kenny Gainwell is in the final year of his contract. Okay? I think Kenny's had a really nice year. Barkley's had an A game, and he's been playing A football pretty much all year long. Jalen Hurts, best game of the year, best game since Miami. I thought Jalen had an A game. I thought he played well. I think he gets an A on that. So, again, like we said, trending in the right direction and doing the right things. By the way, please, guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button here. All right. Tonight, Houston and the New York Jets. It's in the Meadowlands. Who you like tonight? I like the Jets, believe it or not. I like the Jets actually a big time in this game. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to play well, and I think Devontae Adams is going to play well. 2-6 Jets. I think because the injuries that you have on the Texan side with Mixon, with Stephon Diggs, a lot of guys are banged up on their defensive side of the ball. Jets are favored in this game. It's at home. I just think Texans have too many injuries. Senor, that's why. Well, against the Texans defense, I think there's guys missing on that side of the football. I like the Texans. Stroud can elevate his guys. I'll say this to you. Stroud cannot carry his team to beat a 2-6 team. Okay. That's not what this is. That's not, dude, every week doing the records like that is so dumb, dude. It's about matchups. Last year you lost to a shitty Giants team and you were fighting for the NFC East. What was your excuse for losing to the Giants last year? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he brings the schedule up all the time. That doesn't matter, man, or the records up, I should say. Where's Sauce been all year, Sills? No question. Give me a score tonight. I'll say this to you. I got Jets 23-20 over the Texans tonight. I'll say 23-20. $28-14. Joe Mixon will beat the Jets defense. Texans win. Big Sills is right. It's a week-to-week league. You know, it's funny when you say that. Again, that's one thing Senor doesn't get. He thinks because you're 2-6, you should automatically beat that team next year, even though you're down players. And the reason why it's a week-to-week league is because it's the most physical league and players are lost, and you may not have the same personnel lining up against that 2-6 team, and you may drop it. But that's what people don't get. Dude, that's a great one. I'm sorry. I should do Grant Calcaterra. I think he gets a B. I think he gets a B. Absolutely. Thanks for your time, Sills. Enjoy the rest of your night. Hey, Ronald, thank you so much for coming here, man. Really appreciate that. Eduardo. All right, everyone. Hey, very good. Thank you, guys, man. Fantastic. Hey, don't forget the next show, too, man. Xander, who we got coming up on that thing here? Who do we got coming up here on This Week in Football? This Week in Pro Football. Who do we have coming up here? I know Sal Pal's going to be jumping aboard. And he's going to be Sal Palantonio. Ray Didinger is going to be on as well. So you're going to get Ray Didinger and Sal Pal following the program here. Very cool. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. You guys have been absolutely sensational this entire week. You guys have been the entire football season. The likes are going through the roof. The super chats have gone through the roof. We can't thank you enough, man. It'll be a football Friday heading into the weekend. College football on Saturday. NFL football on Sunday. Obviously, guys, I have the Jets beating the Texans tonight, 23-20. We appreciate everybody. Please hit the like button. Big Joe, thank you. Xander, thank you. 2 to 6 tomorrow. We'll see you on the flip side.